I'm just jumping on here. Just remember, you guys are more than welcome to ask any questions. If you got any questions, business, garage door, gate, fencing, Google. If you're cruising through, let me know what state you're in. Let me know the temperature. Let me know what the weather's like. From Arizona, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, Michigan, New York, California. There's plenty more from there. Also, if you jump on here too, if you're cruising through, don't forget, please hit the like button. Just helps bring more people in. More people, more fun, more ideas, more creativity. We're going to do a little opening here. Tony sent me something. I really appreciate it, Tony. Tony's a real help to the community. He's got a good heart. There's no... And I'm going to show you a few things. So we're going to bust out the knife here. These little... It's doing pretty good. It could use a little... It could use a little scuffing up. You know what I mean? Won't go too crazy. Casey sent me... Can't show his address. Got to go backwards way. Casey sent me $100 bills. Now, what I'm curious, hopefully Tony will join us tonight. I should have probably let him know. Look what Tony sent. You guys ever see this? I've never seen one. Never touched one. I believe he's getting these. I think you can buy these. This one says, not for climbing. Well, that's good to know. Not for climbing. This is pretty sweet. This will work really good on my... Even on the pants, the suspenders. Thanks, Tony. I really appreciate it. We also, I'm hoping Rob jumps on here maybe. Because, and then we always hope for Rich B, because Rich B and Tanner, and Kevin. There's so many more. Guy and Freeze and everybody else. But anyways, I wanted to share this with you guys in the beginning. Maybe we'll do it later, because I should have done it later, because people start funneling in. Hey, appreciate the like I said, if you come in here, just hit the like button. Well, it doesn't cost you nothing. It's free of charge. I wanted to share this with you because some people might not know. I'm not much of a Max or a Master Force person here, right? What's up, Rusty? Rusty is a good guy too. So we got the Master Force, right? They sell these at Menards. I just find, when I was collecting my tools for my bucket or for my bag, I started going to the bag that had wheels on it. I don't have a picture or anything here. Because I do a lot of commercial, and you get a building, you got to walk through the parking lot. The bucket gets heavy with all your tools. And if you guys, let me know what you guys use. If you're using like a Milwaukee case or something like that. I kind of went over to the Milwaukee a little bit because since I don't have an enclosed vehicle anymore, in case I do get a little rainstorm or something, they're kind of protected from the elements. I don't have to worry, gaskets and everything. But I've thought about going back to that bag with the rolly wheels because it was laid out better, it seems like. But anywho, without spilling everything here, some of these pop out. Some of these things I don't even use, but these come in real handy. Put that in the right spot. Look at it. Now I got a couple of my own little selections in here. Like they don't come with your 3/8 little driver there. Oh, let's see if the old bad boys will. This is how it's supposed to work. Boom, just like that. Look at that. Got yourself. Not real familiar how to use this yet. There you go. You push. This one's a little different than like a drill. That gets me a little bit. It's probably for the better actually. Push down on it when you're using it, but bam. Like a 7/16. So I got this kit. Tony's here. Audio's good. Thank you, Tony. Checking this puppy out, baby. So you got that one, right? You can put all kinds of stuff on here. All right, check that out. Check that out. You got your 7/16. Got to have a good old 3/8, right? 3/8. Throw 3/8 on the bad boy. Let's see here if this one's a different size. I got to do it different, I think. Boom. What bites on there? Good. There we go. Boom. Look at that. And then you can hang them. You can put your long ones. You can do whatever. This is pretty. Tony, you got to let people know, where do you get this? I don't even know where you get this. Where are you buying these? How much do these cost? I'm just curious. Got a nice little, clip there. Look at that. I mean, I just never even knew these existed. That's a pretty cool, that's definitely really handy. Keep all your stuff organized, and it's all about keeping that stuff organized, baby. But anyways, I wanted to show you too on this kit, right? Because some people might not know. I buy these kits a lot. I think they're, gosh, I can't remember if they're $14 or something like that, or $29. I can't remember. Because they got your, and Tony inspired me because I see this and I was like, I'm going to bring the kit. So I brought this along. But I like these because, you know, everything just kind of closes up. Got that. Everything stays secure. You can throw stuff in there. You can go back and organize it. But like I got a, oh, what is it? I don't know what they call it. T-bit or whatever. I don't know. This thing has just gotten me out of a lot of jams. I got your little star. You know, I got your, what is it, 5/16. It's got square heads in here. What's the bottom here? We got Phillips. Phillips are nice, square heads. Does have, I believe it does have its own stars in here too. This kit is just coming really handy. So if you're at Menards, might be something you want to consider. You know, like it's just, they seem pretty rugged. Normally, once I start losing a few of them, what I do is I kind of retire them. What I'll do is I'll buy another one. And then, so like this one in pretty good shape. This one hasn't lost a lot of stuff yet. And what happens is I'll take the one that's retired and I'll start pulling some stuff. What I should do, what you should do too, is you should also take a picture or something, just so you know where everything goes. Because once it gets kind of wild, when it seems like it's really, they get really wild is when you have employees or somebody working with you and they start getting their fingers in here. Oh, by the way, too, looks like we got roughly about people on my end. If you guys don't mind, hit the like button. It just helps bring more people in, more people, more entertainment. So what's up, Rusty? Did you work it all today? Just do the honey list or what's going on? Tony says audio is good. It's awesome. Oh man, what's this? Is CC Motion here? What's the guy? Girlfriend accused me of cheating and said she started to sound like my wife. What? Okay, so 2436, I believe, is what Tony's got. The Surewinder. What's the definition for these, Tony? What do you call this? What's this called? I don't even call it. A clip with it? I don't know. Tony's selling these now. He's got his own business going on. He's got Surewinders. He got this. It's going to be, what's the thing that girls watch time? QTV or something like that? I just came across it. I haven't seen it for a long time. They do a live on YouTube. What, is it QB? What's the one? I used to always be on late night, all night, like I think it was only off for like an hour or two at night, like from like 3 to 4 in the morning or something. QTV. It's got all that stuff, right? The ladders in them. That's going to be Tony pretty soon. Rusty says, nope, can't work on Sunday. Church and relax. There you go. There you go. What's Rusty got here? These are really cool, though. This is cool. That is cool. Thank you, Tony. That is cool. Can't quit playing with it. Like a kid. Says if you remember my glass doors, I sent you a photo from my shop. Installed a LiftMaster 28032 on Saturday to one of those because I'm tired of getting out of the truck. I can understand that. I'm impressed with the strength because the glass doors weigh more than 900 pounds. Holy cow. Wow. Does anybody got recommendations? So I was talking to, maybe some of you have seen it or not. I had the video, the devil's in the details, you know what I mean, about Caleb. And he sent me a picture today. I couldn't update it, or that video was already furnished, I guess, you know. The spring pad came off the wall. It was crooked. Didn't explode, but it was close. So I had to go back and he had to fix it today. I told him, I said, hey, you know, if you got to do a garage door opener, he told him he didn't feel like it was up to speed enough to do it. So he probably had to find somebody. I said, no, man. I said, do it. I said, I'll help you. I said, I'll give you a hand. I said, you know, he's done a few with, it's just not enough to be where he's really up to par and he feels comfortable with it. I get it. Electronic stuff can be nerve wracking, especially when you're first starting out. But anyway, what I'm getting at is I was wondering if anybody has access to that on the live here or a recommendation. What would, if they go to Menards, what would Menards offer? Because I found out those doors are 10 by 10. So it's obviously, I don't believe, and maybe some of you guys know, can you get a 10-foot rail at Menards in stock? I don't think you can. I think they do I thought they did 8-foot. And I don't know if any of them do, even if like Lowe's or Home Depot offer that. I don't even know. I would assume they have to order it. I would assume, because when I used to work for Menards, they could order their own commercial doors. So I'm assuming they can order a 10-foot roll. It would be a special order. But anywho, he was saying something to me about, he said, well, maybe we'll see if we can get something through you. And I was like, I said, whoa, boy, put on the brakes here. And I said, I'm not saying like no. I said, but here's what goes through Uncle Dave's mind. The problem is that he is approximately probably about 45 minutes to a good hour away one way. You know what I mean? And wherever his job site is that he's doing this, let's just add on probably another 15, 20 minutes. And I thought, no way in Sugar Pops that I'm going to get roped into. We provide an opener here, this place, Affordable Door and Gate, that we provide an opener, and that darn thing has a failure. And then it's, hey, Uncle Dave or customer or somebody, you know where I'm going with this? Like circuit board, RPM sensor, photo eye, wall button. No. No. You take that puppy, you pack it right back up, you take it right to whoever the closest dealer is. Menards, Lowe's, Home Depot. I don't know if ABC, but does anybody ever buy from Ace Hardware? I don't think Ace Hardware. Hardware always had like lumber, and they always got chainsaws and stuff, right? Do you guys even know what an Ace Hardware is? Do you even have an Ace Hardware? We got a couple of them dried up over the years. But that's cool, Rusty. I'm glad that door worked good for you, the opener. You know, hopefully it keeps working, man. I think it was Eric. It was Freeze. He was the one that mentioned to me about, I can't ever say quite his name. I've been watching some videos, the Brazilian hot dog 24757, whatever, you know. That kid's got some darn good information, man. He goes in some depth on those openers, and talking about that LiftMaster wall button, how they got rid of the second click in there, just because they're trying to cheapen things up a little bit. Got some damn good videos. I ain't gonna lie. I enjoy watching them. I'm glad that I got onto them, because like I said, there was some stuff I definitely would agree with them. So, and I haven't even scratched the surface on some of his videos. So, Tony, what's been new? Anything? You've been working the weekend? Got any doors, or what's this, Rusty? What do you got this week? What do you guys got planned? Got any big jobs? Going to be kind of slow? Just doing advertising? What's on the radar? I'm just curious. I think obviously it depends on the opener, but it depends on. Caleb was saying something about Tuesday. I'm not sure what was going on. He had to take off the day. I think dentist, stuff like that. But how are you going to get a door unless it's through us? And like I said, it's not that I don't want to do a sale, but I go back to the whole thing. You know what I mean? The whole headache of that's too far away. We can't warranty it. It's our product. There's really nothing that I trust. And like I was thinking with like the Menards, I just told him, I said, look, I think he got those doors because they're Clopay. I said, I'm guessing those are Ideal doors. Now, he didn't purchase them. The customer purchased them. And I said, whatever you do, I said, when you buy from, I don't know if Menards sells Genie at all. I know they got Chamberlain. They've had Chamberlain. I know they got that. I think it's called Master for now, I think. Which is, I said, do not buy that. I said, whatever you do, do not. And I don't even know if they offer a 10-foot and that stuff, so I don't know. What you got? Like I said, too, cruising through, whatever, hit the like button. Helps bring more people. We always appreciate it. What's Rusty guys? I'm impressed with the strength because the glass door was 900. We got that. What's this? LiftMaster 98022 is a heavy residential jack shaft. LiftMaster 28032 is for light duty commercial doors. Didn't want to go the maximum lift master and deal with the possible future issues. I can't blame you on that, man. I'm kind of letting all you guys and some of you guys, and like, I'm not gonna name names, but just some of you guys, I'm getting feedback, and I'm just like, yeah, you know, I'm just one of those guys that I don't like spending more money for something and then it not be proven. And you know, I'm really crunching hard now as I get these, right? I think my kid even said I got them in the back now. Look at all these gray hairs. Look at all these gray hairs. With more gray hairs, I'm honestly thinking about where things are going, right? And I just keep telling myself, nope, nope, nope. I do not want to be the guinea pig. I've been the guinea pig way too many times. Way too many times. And there's things out there that may be 3, 5, 10 years old that have been proven, right, with a pretty good track record. I'd rather use that stuff, you know what I mean, that I can at least go online and find information or problems with. A lot of this we can't find information. You know what I mean? Especially when it's brand new. Nobody's made videos yet. Nobody's had problems. You know, it hasn't irritated somebody. Maybe they just have one problem out of the 10. But when it starts hitting them, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they're like, oh, this is ridiculous. I gotta say something about it. And then it comes out, you know. It's kind of like that whole thing I've said before with the cars, right? I think you got to buy the last year model. And I can't remember if the guy told me you got to buy like, something like, I don't want to say 10 years old, but I feel like there was something with a 10 that he told us. Something that's 10 years or had 10 years of running. But anyways, you want to buy something that had a kind of a long span. And then typically you want to buy, what I've noticed anyways, you want to buy the last year roughly, because those have been typically had little improvements, right? When the first thing comes out, it has glitches and problems. And for instance, right, the Nissan Frontier, when they switched over in 2004, 2005, right? The first year problems because the transmission, the radiator would fail. It would mix the antifreeze, the coolant, with the transmission fluid. So it'd make a strong smoothie, I think is what they called it. Wipe out the transmission. They fixed that 3 or 5 years later. You know what I mean? So you want to buy the older ones, you know. So it's just hard to say. But yeah, I said some of this stuff, and then we haven't, as far as I know, we haven't really gone through any winners with this. So, you know, and the Brazilian guy, the hot dog, he tore apart. He actually had one tore apart. I guess the motor failed. It's a DC motor. And whatever he was messing with, I wasn't impressed. I was kind of like, yuck. You know, I was just kind of like, I just can't. And he's got some good points. He's got some good points talking about how the ACs are actually quieter as long as they got those isolation mounts, rubber mounts. Just kind of cool. So what do we got? Russ's guy says, this week at residential install every day, and we'll fill the rest of the time with repairs. Seems like July was slow. August was super busy. September is starting off good. Nice. Yeah, I don't know what's... I know it's going to be hammer time around here. That's what's going to happen. I think Cap is leaving. I think he leaves for a week. He's got his vacation. There's some big jobs that came in. He's got some commercial, one of those screen doors that go behind another one. That's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be I think that one got approved, a big gate job. I put some big 6-inch or 6 and 5/8 post on that puppy with a big old gear-headed gate operator. That one's in sandy soil, so that one will be interesting. You got to bring a cement truck in. So I can feel it. You ever just feel like when you've been in business long enough, you just feel like, oh man, the storm is coming. And then I feel like it's a frequency, like electricity, like a frequency, right? all the stuff in the media and the election and all that's compound things, and people are going to have sickness because they're going to be so stressed out about knows what. And then who's to say, hopefully, they don't do some kind of taboo, that we have to send them from our house. We have to mail them in or something goofy. I don't know what. It seems like something is always going up. I just can't ever, something new. Says, yeah, I'm working at a place like Brinks. Everybody's carrying weapons. While I work. Oh, snap. Got to make sure you're not stealing those coins, baby. Stealing those gold nuggets. Taking that money, It's got to be kind of cool. I kind of missed it when my wife, when she used to work, she worked at a jewelry place. And he used to go in there, and the security guard had a gun. They got rid of it because cost savings. But I always liked that in there because I was always like, whoo. Plus I knew somebody else. I know who I'm getting behind. So there, I bet you feel everybody's got back. Oh man. Tony said, I did a residential spring today. Nice. Was it a single spring, Tony, or was it a two springs? I actually had a guy. It's no big deal. We had a couple 10x10s that were nasty. We had to get rid of them. And the guy messaged me over the weekend, and he's like, hey, he says, there's only one spring on here. And he says, I think he had an 8x8 or something, or 8x10. I can't remember. He said, that one had two springs on it. And I said, yeah. I said, sometimes they do that. I just do one spring. I'm always a big two spring fan. It all depends on the situation. It's not like I'm going to say I convert them over. But, Hey, we got 6 likes, by the way, too. So I appreciate the likes, you guys. That's always wonderful. Hey, we finally got Eric House. What's up, Mr. Freeze? Hope you're doing good. Says, I got a call on Friday from a past customer who wants a price on 45 roll-up doors. So, Rusty, on those roll-up doors, is it... Are we talking like storage unit doors? Rolling steel? I'm assuming a storage unit building. Like what do they normally have? 9x7s? The really, because there's like, I forget what they call them. I just know there's a difference between, I think it's roll-up door, and then there's rolling steel. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get it right. Like that. I think that's how Wayne Dalton always would, you want a roll-up door? Or you want rolling steel. Like the one I got here in the shop, that's rolling steel. Eric Sky Day says, I had a long day today. How is it going? It's going great. Hope you had a good day. What'd you do? What was so busy today, Eric? You just out mowing the grass? What's going on? Fixing stuff or what? Excuse me. Tony's guys. And that ad on the rock station here in town. It feels like I'm getting a little more from it. Ooh, nice. Nice. Tony, if you come across it, if you think of it sometime, either take a video, or if you got a way to record it, I just like to hear for myself. I just think it'd be kind of cool just to hear it, because Tony sent me a video. What the heck did you send me, Tony? I think he was working on a door. He was doing an opener. And I could hear in the background, I could hear the radio. It was just, I don't know, I'm just weird like that. I just thought it was cool to hear the radio in the background, like, and they were talking about the weather or something, and they were talking about, in the Indiana. It was just cool. I just was like, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, I got a station. It's amazing now what we can do with technology, right? So the station has kind of gone a little more, modern country than I used to like. But sometimes I always like going up north to the trailer, which is in Big Rapids, and they got they had a radio station, 100, I think it's 100.9, big. And I always like listening to it because, like tonight, like on Sundays, I think at a certain time they start really playing kind of the stuff from like the 80s and 90s kind of era, just stuff I remember riding around in parents' cars and stuff like that. And so they start playing that. I don't know how late it goes till, if it's 9 o'clock or something tonight or midnight. anyways, I was listening to. I put the earbuds in, and I was listening to. I had to water some plants, and so I was listening to it, and it's so cool to be up there. Where the only time I ever could listen to it was when I was literally, in bed, and we have a little alarm clock, the radio playing. You can barely get it in; it's all fuzzy, right? Barely comes in because you're in a little steel trailer, I can listen to when I'm home, and I like listening to when they talk about the weather, because there's like it's just more straightforward, versus like our local. It seems like they hype it up or they talk too long or something. Like they lose my interest. Like I'm like, what? I missed it. So it's just pretty cool. Tony says it was 2 springs. I never knew that until a guy told me, right? How the 2 springs work together. They work in harmony, it seems like, versus one will always shift. And it's always putting a lot of pressure on that bearing, just for some of those guys out there. I never knew that. I did not know that. But then what he would do is if he was going to put another spring on there, and he had the one, let's say it was a left hand, he'd put it on the opposite side if it's the right spring and stuff. He said that way it pushes the other way and puts pressure on the other bearing, kind of equally wears them out. Oh, it's not a bad idea. You know what I mean? And ever since I know that now, I see how stuff will push and pull on them. So that's why sometimes with the secretary, we have certain things, and I'll be like, can you get 2 springs on there? She's like, typically doesn't come with 2 springs. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, but can we do it? Like, it'll just be smooth, at least in my opinion. I don't think there's any benefit to 1 spring. I can't think of it except for clearance reasons. Like you push the spring over a little bit for an opener. But maybe you guys could let me know cost savings. I mean, besides that, but I don't think there's any benefit. 2 is better. I love 2 springs too, because if 1 breaks, typically it doesn't blow the cables off the drum. The customer, even when I've been there, right? It's a little trick he's done. I'm sure some of you guys have done it too. Have them hit the wall button, or even programmed a remote if I don't feel they're confident. Hit the button, help the garage door up, get their car out of there so they don't damage their vehicle, bring their door down, helping it down. I wonder how some of those new openers are reacting to that. Has anybody experienced with the new openers? Are they out like big time? Like, will they not help you out? Because I'm a little old school. I still dealt with the old gear driven ones with the force settings on them, and those things were not very sensitive. So they just go. I just lift up the door. But I wonder if that frequency change like that, with you lifting, freaks it out. That would suck. Tony, if you have a Google business account, you will be able to see if your call or search volume went up. Ooh, nice. So Rusty says, yes, 9x7 roll-ups. We could never get those roll-up doors for us. We always had a really, really, really hard time. Oh, by the way, don't forget, hit the like button if you're just cruising through. I appreciate it. Cheers, by the way. Anywho, those doors. We had a guy, he was a very faithful, his name was Charlie. He doesn't run the business. I don't know if Charlie's still alive, honestly. But he ran a storage unit company. He ran, to do better, and he was a fair man. And he sold the business, and the guy took over. His name was Paul. He was a ding. He was just always looking for the cheap, and he just whittle you, just no respect. Just somebody's just like, I don't have respect for this dude. But anyways, Charlie used us. We finally did some roll-up doors for him. We got our numbers right, but we had a hard time competing with the company that installs them. Now, the reason he kind of liked us is because he liked our slide locks. He said our slide locks were a little nicer than provided. Take it for what it was. I think they were Wayne Dalton ones. They're a little more classy, a little more smooth. He just liked them. But our numbers had to come down, it was a learning curve, you know what I mean? And we lost. It said use cellular data. We lost you for a second. Anywho, we're back. Sorry about that. So with Charlie, ended up doing the job. But any other job, I don't think we'll entertain them. Normally it is just such a, for us, at least in our area, the companies that come out of state, I think they come out of Wisconsin, that come over here, a crew of Mexicans, and they just whip those puppy out. They get such a cheap price. And for me, right, I've experienced this over the years with a lot of customers that buy them for shed stuff like that, and they'll say, well, go to Menards and they're like $200 cheaper, and I'm like, you're right, probably are, especially when you're buying only 1 or 2 doors. And the problem is because at Menards they can buy in such volume, right? Whole semi truck full of doors, where we're onesie twosie, and it's almost $200 just to get them shipped. So it's always a real hard balance for us. Then they sometimes would be damaged. I think we haven't one down the road. I had us bid, and it was just still cheaper. I mean, it was like it just wasn't worth it. I mean, it was like I think they were when we did our math, we were making $15 to $25 per unit. We just couldn't do it. And I just look at them now, like anytime I to even look at them, right? I just not even interested. I just not even interested, But that's cool. Like I said, 45 be nice, and once you get the rhythm down, man, you can slap those puppy out right up. They go up fast. Do. Eric says he goes 2 springs all day, with the exception of normal pan door. Yeah, it seems like you get was it like a 192 wire? I've had that once in a while. That's caught me off guard. They just be a single spring even, or a pair of them. But yeah, 2 springs seem like they're just seems like bettering the customer for in the future. It puts less wear on things. I just think it's better. What's Rusty got here? Rusty says rolling steel has small replaceable sections. Ooh, roll up is 1 cent. That's interesting. I'm glad you mentioned that, Rusty. I'll tell you a little story because we're kind of dead tonight. We need a few more cruising through. Hit the like button, please. Anywho, in my earlier years, we had a where the old house used to be, right? There was a couple doors down. We had a factory. It wasn't real big, but I did what was that place called? River City Roll Form or something? They made roll form parts for whoever, right? They were kind of like a machine shop. And the guy, it was always one of those, like, I think this is kind of good for like the young bucks, right? He was always, drove a really nice truck. He always had a nice kind of suit on, tie, maybe not a tie, but suit of some sort, You go in the office, beautiful secretary. Might have even been his wife. I don't think it was, though. But anyways, you go in there, place is clean. The office was, and I remember how intimidated I was with it. I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is, it's maybe 3 or 4, parcels over. You could pretty, ride a bike there and you're good. You know what I mean? Like, this is a customer you want, right? In your back. And they were doing an addition. And so he contacted us. I went down there. He said, hey, we're doing an addition. We're going to need a garage door. Okay. Now, this is kind of where it's that again, where I might have not had all my ducks in a row, and it could have been a little bit of his problem. We ordered a sectional door. I don't remember exactly the size, maybe like a 12, wasn't super big or anything. And we get close to the time, and then the building's being built, whatever. And he says, he goes, I don't want this door. He goes, I want a roll-up door. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, because inside the building where the forklift's going to be going, and they're lifting up and moving, they're going to hit the track. I totally agree, right? And he's like, and he's like, you can sell the door, right? And I'm like, and I'm a small little fish right now, right? I'm like, yeah, I don't even know if we had them do half down. And so I'm just like, yeah, like I'll find somebody that wants, I think I did sell it for a quarter, the price type thing. We get this roll-up door. I panic, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to get this door now, because now everything was good. Now it's not. So I call up I call up the vendor. I'm like, hey, I need this door. Like, I roll-up door now, right? Not even, and this is that whole thing goes back to what I'm always preach to people. about you got to slow down, right? You got to slow down. You got to methodically. You got to get confirmation. You need to understand the verbiage. You need to understand what you're talking about. And so I said, I need a roll up door. I'm thinking just a roll up door. Roll up door's roll door. And this door comes in, right? And it's what Rusty's saying. It's a roll up door, like a storage unit door. It is not a sectional, or not sectional, but it's not a rolling steel with replaceable slats and heavy duty. So there's like really no chance of even putting an opener on here. Now I'm in a pickle. I'm stuck. Hey, appreciate the like. And I'm stuck, man. I'm like, fudge, man. Like, I'm like, now I got this door. I'm behind on time. This customer's just like, seems like he's calling me every day. Where's my door? Where's my door? Where's my door? This, because the addition they put on is like a cold area. So they're, the heat, they're losing heat. It wasn't quite in the elements, but they're losing heat. And I'm just like, I get this door in, and I'm like, as soon as it shows up, I see it come off the truck, and all it is like, it's like that movie with Christmas Story with the little elf Ralphie or whatever, and he goes, fudge. I see it coming off the truck, and I'm like, this is not what I wanted, and I'm devastated. What do we do? We install it. That's what we do, because we got to get paid, because we need the money. So we end up installing this thing. Might have been the same day or a couple days later. It's down to, we need an opener on this. And I'm like, you can't put an opener on this. It's like freaking impossible. Now, that was before the 8500, the LiftMaster, the residential jack shafts, because you could probably make something like that work a little better. We had to use, what did we use? We used an MJ LiftMaster. Luckily, it's a machine shop, right? Now, the tube in there is hollow. It's a weird size, where 1.25 inches or something. So we have them, machine a shaft for it. I stick it in there. I put a bolt, a cotter pin, thinking that's whatever. This thing runs for like a few months. I don't know if it made it quite a year, right? They're calling, it's got problems. It's not going all the way to the ground. Every time we kept coming to this door, it just seemed like stuff was slowly breaking apart, right? The cotter pin's all loose. Now I through bolt it. I mean, it's like you need to weld it. I didn't have a welder at the time. I really did in that area. And then it's all wobbly, and I'm putting a screw bar on there. Horrible situation. Then, right, the cherry on top, right? What happens with the door? Come to find out, those doors like to always be yanked, right, with a cord, with a rope, or you pull handles, right? With it getting that down pressure, now it starts delaminating because it's hitting the ground every time we're making it, seal, and it's going boom, 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 boom. Over time, it starts ripping the section apart, right? It's starting to delaminate. And I'm like, now we're probably about 1.5 years, 2 years into it. This is embarrassing. They don't want to deal with it anymore. And then I remember after that year or so, and I kind of just got rid of the door, maybe 6 something. And the guy goes, well, we got to do something about this. And I'm like, yeah, I can't eat this. Like, I just can't eat this. Like, I'd love to have the money where I could just go, we'll switch. We screwed up. But then it was like I got a price on a rolling steel door. And oh my gosh, we're talking like add like another $1,200, $2,000 on top of it. It's like, oh, hell no. Like, we can't do that. Coming with an opener, stuff like that, the price is just astronomical. So then he has the nerve, right? After this thing's all falling apart, and he's kind of like, he's discouraged, and he's like, I don't know what we're going to do. He's like, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, if you would have stuck with the original sectional door with a trolley opener, we wouldn't be here. That's over and done with, right? So anyways, then he has the nerve. He goes, you still got that old door? That originally? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Doug? I'm like, oh. I was like, I wish, because I just took a bath on it, And I'm like, no. So we ended up replacing it with a sectional door as time went on. So basically, the long story short is, don't ever put an opener. And I've done this twice now. I think twice or 3 times, and they all turn out like garbage. Don't put openers on those roll-up doors. Rolling steel, different story, especially if they're built for it. Get them built for it. What's Eric guy? He says the new master sits at you a beep if it got a broken spring. Great. A little bit, it won't help me out. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Like I said, if you guys are cruising through whatever too, you guys got any questions, comments, videos, or not, but openers or doors or anything, let's talk about it. I'm not afraid. I'm here to entertain, well, and learn, and help any of you young guys out there. They must be all asleep. Rusty says, I may not be cheap enough, Dave. He says, Clopays are going to be more expensive than, track rights and Wayne Dalton's. Yeah, and like I said, I just don't even, and it's one of those things, like, I'm not, I'm super happy you bring it up, Rusty. It's just one of those things I tell you from my experience. I don't even entertain them anymore. It's like if it comes across the desk, I hear Cap or something, Cap even knows. It's like, next. Because we just cannot. I don't know how to explain it. It's like we just don't even. It's just not even there. No matter how we've ever sliced it or diced it, we can't ever beat the box stores. We just can't. We can't stores. We can't beat the guys that put them up. I can't remember what that little sign. I'm trying to think at the top of those buildings, those storage buildings, like Tri-City or Tri-Right or something it's called. When you get a whole package deal for those guys, like all these guys around you, they just got to put the concrete down, and then they come in with the steel, and they put it up in like a day. Their crew knows what they're doing. Their doors are probably installed better than we can install, because it takes us 2, 3, 5 before we kind of get I call it the pecking order, right? And we start getting down what we're doing, and then if you get somebody ahead of you, that stage and everything. And I've had some of them that just get wonky on you. I don't know if it was so much on the woodens versus the metal, but I've had it where it's like the track gets goofy or something's going on, and like the door almost like it's going to slip out, and you're like, that one might be a callback. And then you get kind of roped into them. And the years I've worked, we had a guy out in Grand Rapids, Michigan. They did a huge storage unit out there to work on all their storage unit. And it was always like, I don't know how to say it. I don't know if I'd still even try to push for storage units. Most of the time they get like a maintenance guy. So it's like, or they want you to do multiple things right there. And then sometimes you get into them too with the storage units, and it's like, there's crap. You know what I mean? But obviously I know this is a new install, so that's besides the point. But we just can't ever make the numbers work where it's like, this is, it's like, to me, it's like we'd be better off doing like 4 broken springs during the week for different colors than to touch 45 doors. Even one job site, and then even though, we're making nuggets here, boom, 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 boom. I think I'd rather still do 4 residential broke springs and take the risk of them having callbacks or there's a problem. And there's better meat. I don't know, something like that. It's just goofy, but it doesn't hurt to swing. Maybe get it. Maybe numbers right. Maybe they can't find somebody too, right? All that stuff plays a factor. Sometimes nobody wants to do it, and sometimes you're the guy that will do it, and you can kind of name some people work with you. So that's kind of cool, I don't even know who makes the cheese. All I know is, like, if you go to Menards, at least Menards, that's what I always tell them. I've had people all time, all day long, friends, family, like, hey, I need a roll-up door. I need it for my shed. And okay. And I'm like, I think we had it for actually a really close family member. I remember maybe about a year or two ago. And the wife asked me, and I said, babe, just have them go to Menards. I said, there's no, like, they've probably already shopped around, and it's really going to be the cheapest. I said, because shipping kills us. I said, it's going to kill us on one door. I said, because they have to typically come on a whole separate truck. Not always, but they whack you for it. So it's like, now if you're buying like a semi-truck, that's all different. But those guys seem like they got it down. It's like the Walmart. How do you compete against Walmart? Do. Unless you get Charlie. Charlie liked locks. He liked those Wayne Dalton slide locks. Rusty says, but the customer has used me for years and knows I'm it not cheapest. Yeah, like I said, you never know. You know, I mean, that's a good point. Like I said, with Charlie really wanted those slide locks, and we provided Wayne Dalton, and those had those nicer slide locks on them on the exterior. And he was really determined, but I remember he whittled us down a little bit because he'd be like, well, he says, you know, they're, you know, $500 or $1,000 cheaper than you guys are, blah, blah, blah. And we worked with them. And like I said, you know, when you have somebody when you have a customer that's respectful, I like that. You know what I mean? Like, I like that they're trying to, you know, give you the business. They want to stay loyal. You know, especially show you the numbers, prove it. You know what I mean? Because some people obviously take advantage of you on that. I don't mind that kind of stuff, you know. We've had a few, you know. I've had a few. I told them I honestly not even want to bid it, and they said, you know, well, it's just going to plan on using you, and it's like, oh, if that's the case, I'm going to give you a fair price. We're going to make dollars, and we're gonna play ball, you know. Tony says, Rusty, I do have a Google business. I'll have to check it out. Heck yeah, see if it's what it's doing. It's crazy how Google's getting all this like all this data now, right? Like you can, like, you ever look for like a restaurant and they'll show you like busy or how busy, and it's like, oh, it's like, are they tracking all the phones that are in that area? You know what I mean? That are at that location. Or like what gets me now is it kind of irritates, like you get I think I've been at a few restaurants now or something, like you get some offer like, hey, since you're at whatever, and I'm like, stop spying on me. You know, I'm like, I'm here, you know. Okay, so Tony said he got the holders. If you're just jumping in, you're new. Got the holders on Amazon. Amazona. Tell you what, man, Amazon is, they're kind of one of those places, like I would say, like, you know, I ain't like super proud, but they got their stuff down, man. You can't beat the price. You can't beat the convenience. Man, they're just, I'm waiting. I've seen, I don't know if anybody knows what's on the bigger trucks for Amazon. There's been some bigger trucks seen around towns. And the only reason I think of it is because one of the kids went, whoa, I never seen one of those trucks. And I said, yeah, I said, they're delivering probably bigger stuff. And I was thinking, oh gosh, like I thought, what's the biggest thing Amazon delivers? Because she goes, I'm waiting for them to sell a car. And I said, I think I heard talking about it. I don't know if that ever came, but I thought, you know, these are bigger box trucks, kind of box truck you'd see for like garage doors, you know, being delivered at your shop or house. And I was thinking, my God, I was like, do they sell like beds? They sell, you know, I don't know how far Amazon goes. Do they sell like dressers? I mean, I know they sell the stuff, like they send the end tables and that, and you got to build the crap, because I've seen a few of them come across where we love our wives, right? But, you know, it's like, you know, can you help me put this together? Oh my gosh, it's just like a chunk of lead. And you're like, what's in here? Oh, it's an end table. You know, I got to build it. Who's paying me for this? Oh man, it's time to get shredded up. Do 50 push-ups. Heck yeah, man. I agree. We all should stay fit and healthy. Carl T. Oh, Tony's guy says, got to give a quick shout out to Sir Spring. Called him Friday morning, ordered a pair of commercial springs and an 85 logic board. They were here Saturday morning, quick service. Wow, dude. Tony, what's up? Can you give me more details on that? Like Silver Spring is like out working Saturday? Or like, did you go to their location? I'm just kind of, they were here Saturday. It's crazy, dude. And does anybody know, maybe Tony knows, I didn't read the fine print. I don't know for sure. But if somebody knows, obviously, I figured Tony might know. But can I get their doors up here? Is it I got to order like 3 of them? Or is it I got to order so much weight? I just seen it said something about, what was it, 150 miles? Or is it just, that's it? Like you just 150 miles, if you're in their vicinity, you know, they'll do it. I'm just curious. Because it sounds like I cannot. Because I know Cap was saying something about, I don't want to say it. Somebody might be listening. But he said he's been having problems with these guys. And he said we might have to take a break. Shh. Because he just said their stuff is missing stuff. I'm telling you, man. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Got up to 9 likes too, by the way. Thank you for the likes. I would say as of right now, 2024, right? As a consumer, and if you're out there and you're listening and you are a vendor, this is how I feel. I'd like to kind of hear what you guys say. What would you say, I'd rather the company take a little bit longer and deliver me the correct stuff than to try to just whip that stuff out and get it out the door. That's how I feel sometimes, right? Kind of like when the what's going on, right? We had the muzzle. They were whipping that stuff out, right? We get the truck would show up, they give us a window section. And I'm like, sweet, yeah, that customer had a window section. Where's the rest of the door? Oh, we just had the window section. And you're gonna send me a bill for a complete door? And I don't have a door? Next week. Next week come, right? Here comes the sections, rest of the sections. Sweet. We can, yeah. Where's the track? Oh, that's they didn't that. Are you freaking 3 weeks now or whatever? You billed me. You know what I mean? And all I kept thinking the whole time is like, I just wanted somebody out there, a letter saying, I'm sorry, we're going to take a little longer. And I know this was across the board. I know it was because our good old Service Spring was even faltering. And we know that they would do everything in their power to accommodate us. But I just kept thinking, please, as a door manufacturer, I'd rather just tell me, like they were even doing it, right? They would tell you it's going to be 6-8 weeks, right? And they were adding another week to 3 weeks on top of it. And then even that with another week or 3 weeks of it, it still was coming in wrong. And I was like, time out. Like you need to stop. I'd rather them just say, look, it's going to take longer, but it's all going to be there. And so I cannot stress enough for maybe it doesn't affect the big guys as much as it does us smaller garage door companies. Tell you what, it hurts, man. It hurts tremendously when you're out trying to make a living, trying to put it on the table for your family, and you go to a job and you open up that hardware box and it doesn't have everything you need. Your heart just sinks. Like you're like, oh my gosh, it's missing drums. Oh my gosh, it's missing flag brackets. I'm going to have to custom make my own, right? And then that's the job that'll be another one right next or something that you maybe did or whatever. Maybe you're doing 2 doors. And you're like, how am I going to explain this to the customer? When the customer comes out and goes, why is that one got perfect angle on it? And that one's got the straight looking right. Though that one looks right. I don't know because, I can't really afford to make another trip here because the schedule is just so full. So I'm just saying, as vendors, please, just get your quality control, man. I know it's hard with the people and stuff like that. And I can't say I know the answer for 100%. I think Wayne Dalton does a lot on weight. But am I saying it right? Midland? Is it Midland door? Midland door, at least they have that checklist. And I love the checklist. And I see initials. Because that makes me feel like somebody is going to be, if they keep it up. And I call that company and I say, look, I keep getting these hardware boxes from KG or whoever. They're screwing it up. You're not the first one. This is the 10th one. We're going to do something about it. That's all I'm saying. Credibility. You know what I mean? Where the weight stuff, I don't know what's going on. It's going down the line. Somebody's just like, we'll just add a little extra weight. Oh, that's good now. They're just missing the screws that they need in the nuts and bolts and back stuff. That's fine. Rusty says, in my area, I have no competition on storage unit roll-up by the amount of them I service. 2 springs replacement is $735. Nice. Tony says, he says, damn, Rusty says, I wish I had your customers. They must not shop around. Yeah, I know, like I said, because I know when I was thinking, when Rusty just said something about the student, I thought, well, I guess it kind of goes back to what Tony's saying a little bit. Because honestly, like I said, most of the companies around here, there isn't no stick-built ones hardly anymore. There is a few because they have additional buildings and they got the shingle roofs. But I'm trying to think if we even did. Oh yeah, that was the guy. That was a guy down the road. He's business, but he did use us for his roll-up doors. Did service them. But most of them around here are built. I forget what that company's called. There's a big company that goes around the country in a sense. They got different locations. They'll build the whole building and they put up everything, and you know what I mean? They're the ones that are normally the trouble ones. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't even, because sometimes you get the customer that thinks they can save some money. Maybe they think they want to help you out, and say, here, let me give you business because you work on my stuff. I've had that. We got one customer in town that he's still a numbers guy, though. You know what I mean? Like, if ours aren't right, he won't use us. And he just said something about it the other day. He put up a mansion of a house. And he said, you guys might have to come by because whoever installed my garage doors, they didn't do it quite right. And it's like, well, and of course they're wood door, everything, you name it. They all the bells and whistles. I don't remember. It seemed like I don't know, it was 3 doors or something. This was 5-6 years ago. It was like $30,000 or something. Which number? 36. I can't remember. But anyway, so what? We got to come back and fix. Well, where's the people who installed it? Have them come back. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of always feel. Like, who installed it? Have them come back. Like, it's not that I don't want your money, but have them come fix their crap. You know what I mean? Because now you go there. Because you know how garage doors can be. Sometimes you can get to garage doors, and the customer stand there with you. And you're looking at it going, and they're like, what do you think? What do you think? And you really just want to look at them and go, what do I think? The shit needs to be all tore down and redone. That's how I think sometimes, pardon me. I've had that happen a lot with some employees, some old employees. They did a building right down the road. That was our guinea pig for those linear commercial gate operators, not gate operators, commercial operators, jack shafts. 2 guys they let in there. One from a competition around here, company. Was with that company for 8 years. Another guy, combined experience with where he worked and everything, had 20 years of experience. So you'd think with somebody with 20 years experience and another guy with 8 years of experience, probably wouldn't have to worry about them, right? Oh, hell no. No, they put the doors in way too tight. And of course, it was one of those jobs, boom, 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 boom. The builder come behind him, put sheet metal right up to the jams, right? Didn't even give us a ounce of, just their employees, right? Oh, let's just put the J right here next to it. Zip, zip, zip. You get there, and you're like, why are these doors so tight? Like they're screeching. Oh man, I can't pronounce this one. Is it Lope? Lupe? You got the keys to my heart. Dang. Hey, I'm always looking to be somebody's pool boy, looking for it. So hook me up. I'm not doing none of that funny stuff. I wear a Speedo, but I'm not nothing else. Tony says they do shop around and are business known as the best. The biggest problem is nobody shows up on time. Excuse me. He says I get there to the minute and stay. What does it say? And I say I swear that matters into my higher price. Like I said, if it works, it works. It doesn't work around, unfortunately, in our area. It's a lot of times it's price, and of course they want you there. You know how that goes. They want you there on time, and by their watch, and the day something's done, they want you there the next day at the latest. That's how it always goes. That's why a lot of times some of you guys, just to put it out there, I gotta fill up West here. What I do is a lot of my builders, and this is another reason why you don't want to travel far away. And hey, we got up to 10 likes. That's awesome. So thanks for the likes. Another reason why I don't like to travel is when you start, if you get some builders, right, what I would do is I would actually start scoping them out. So they would let me know roughly where the building's built and stuff like that, an address, because that normally has to be part of the process of us getting them a quote and all that kind of stuff. But what I do is I would start monitoring it. And this is one of those things that goes kind of into that business where I'm always like, maybe you want to do vending machines. Maybe you want to do something else. Maybe you want to do rentals, because there's so much time. It's wasted, but you can just spend so much time, right? And I would drive around in the evenings. When I get done with jobs, 4, 5, 6, whatever, I'd start driving around before the sun goes down. And I would literally drive past their job sites so I could start a picture of where it was at and how far the building has came. Because I would know, because, it's not really in the builder's interest, right? They don't really care. You're just kind of you're their, let's just say, right? You want a paycheck, you work for us, you're, whatever. And so I'd go there. So I'd get to the point where I'd be like, they're getting close. They're going to be probably with this week or next. So I'd start priming that pump, baby. That pump, get ready. And that way when they call, they say, hey, we're ready. I go, okay. And I could already kind of get the schedule, manifested how I want it. Maybe I get the doors loaded up on a trailer, throw a tarp over it for a couple days, getting things prepared, right? Because I'm telling you, the garage door business is what really me a lot of times on surprises. I do not like surprises. I don't like birthday surprises. I like these kind of surprises. These are nice. But I don't like, that's what I don't, the unforeseen. I don't like that because I just had it too many times where it's like, I was just telling Cap, right? He told me the other day that he actually ran into one of the service vans wouldn't start. And so he goes, van wouldn't start. He said, so I had to run down. He said, got the battery tested. He said, they said it's charging, but it's not holding a charge, blah, blah. Got a new battery, put it in, vehicle runs. And I said, this is a great opportunity for me to explain something. And I said, I ran into that before. And I said, that's why sometimes when you guys would come in, when I was at the helm, I said, the vans were running. Sometimes we just had super swamp days. And I said, I didn't want to surprise that damn van, one of them out there, or truck, whatever it was, would not start up. So I'd go out there, I'd start those vans, I'd start those trucks, make sure they're running. Especially if it's in that weird, like when we get the frost, make sure the defrost is running on them. Make sure, because I kid you not, it'd be like one person come in here, especially when I was running, we had up to about 7, we had 8 trucks, and, the guys come, it's this mindset, right? Sometimes these employees and that, I used to get guys in here, and I remember that, they lean right here on this. Lean right on that desk. Well, guess I'm not working today. And I'm like, why is that? Van won't start. Okay, so we just give up. Because I got 3 jobs for you today. And even if you get 1 job done, that's better than 0. So what I would do is, we are fortunate enough that we actually have U-Haul right down the street. So I'd say, no. You're not going to just not work today. I said, you're going to jump in the van or something with somebody else. You're going to run down, you're going to get a U-Haul truck. Pull your tools out. And the face would turn into, but I want to go home. I already made it up in my mind. I'm going home. And sometimes that does work against you. But it's one of those things, right? The employee wants a paycheck. We got to serve the customers. I'll have to call the other 2, say, look, we ran into a problem. Even if you just get 1 done, is better than none. You know what I mean? And so, yes, you're not going to have everything, but at least you got a running vehicle until we figure out what's going on. You got to get this one towed, get it running. Because, man, I used to have it down, baby. I mean, it was like if something ate up 10 minutes, that was a problem. Tony, they do shop around. His biggest problem is show up. Amazon sells. Eric Sky says Amazon sells everything. Yeah, I don't. It's one of those things I can't. With Amazon, I ain't saying it's bad. I mean, you get garage door springs from them. You can get garage door remotes. I don't know how much you can buy of openers. Has anybody bought openers from Amazon? Like the name brand? I don't know if they got name brand. Never checked. Maybe I'll check that tonight. UPS delivered. Okay, and it's free delivery if you spend a certain amount. Okay. Okay, Tony, I got it. Rusty says I got service Saturday delivery from UPS over $100 or more. I think. Oh, nice. See, I don't think I know because I'm assuming. Are you assuming you get them delivered to your house? Because we'll get her, I think, for Saturday. You know, they won't deliver. Our guy is pretty good. Our UPS guy, he actually, the gate will be open. He'll actually drive around the back and stuff them right by the door, the garage door, which is nice. Really nice of him. Instead of putting them out front where everybody can see them and steal them. Tony says, you have to order 3 and be in with 150 miles. Okay. Just give me them an address 150 miles from their facility and meet them there and pick them up. Oh, that's a good idea, Tony. That's a good idea. I'm hoping down the road. I have no doubt with that company. That company is always evolving. I'm super impressed. Just ever since I was even a small fish, they've just impressed me. You know what I mean? Their service has always been fantastic. I love that you call, you deal with one person. They got your card on file. They were always such a huge blessing to the business because I could tell the other guy, here's the account number or whatever. They could call the stuff in. It took so much pressure off my shoulders. It was just amazing. But I'm hoping eventually, like I said, they're delivering farther out. I think it will happen with time. You know, once they keep getting their feet wet and experiencing and make a little more money and see there's demand for it. I think it's great. I think it's really great. I think it's awesome. I can't wait. Like I said, we'll see them up this way. Eric Scott, would you ever consider selling Midland doors? Session. We have never really pushed it. I feel like I could be wrong. Maybe somebody knows. Midland is, I think they are one of those people that are companies that if you're certain, they only do certain radius. So we might be too close to one of our com and pop vendors that sells them. So I don't know if they would work with us. It's weird that you learn over time with these vendors, right? Hey, we got up to 11 likes. Who likes you guys? I'm gonna kind of put in my opinion here. So don't sue me, bro. But what I've kind of noticed, right? So like when we used to do it, when we were direct with LiftMaster, there was I think his name was Dennis. Dennis is retired. He's gone. And Dennis was hard to get in with, right? Dennis, he was just an older gentleman. Had nothing against him. I liked him at the IDOs and stuff like that. But he was at his time where he was just kind of like, I've made my living. I make my commission and I'm pretty comfortable and I can smell horse manure a mile away. You know what I mean? So like he just didn't really, he wasn't like a young rabbit. And then there was another kid, I forget his name though. Maybe Nathan or something. He came around, right? And he was like showing up. He's showing up. He's like, hey, we're doing this new product. We got this new photo eye. We got this. We got game. Like he was hungry, right? And I've kind of noticed as these guys, right, I kind of call them these older ones are kind of like my heroes, right? I always looked up to them. I always respected them. I was very thankful that they gave me an opportunity. But hard with the new guys because they normally don't stick. They're normally there for 3-6 months, maybe a year, maybe 2, and then it's kind of like kapow, they're off, and you kind of built that relationship a little bit, even though you don't direct deal with them all the time, but they stop by. And so they kind of come and go, and Jeannie was one of them. The guy I was really believing in him, right? He says, we only have 1% callback or something, or warranty issues. And I'm like, are you being serious? Like, I need you to be serious. Like, because right now I'm having a lot of problems with LiftMaster. Like, I mean, this is costing me a hell of a lot of money because every time I'm back to a damn job, it costs me time. I look bad in front of the customer. I'm losing out production on being at another job right now that makes me money. And I'm going freaking nuts. You know what I mean? Like, when I install something, I just want it to work, right? I want the customer to call me back in maybe, like 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And be like, Dave, that opener you installed, geez Louise, look how many more gray hairs since the last time we met. Boy, that thing really good. Worked really good. Boy, that thing's worked real solid. And I'm like, good, Johnny. I'm glad that thing's been working for you. But instead, it's like I'm going back to it in 6 months. And I'm like, what? What kind of problems? Huh? And you're running all around town, right? So I was really on to him. Well, he left again. He left. All he was worried about, right, is commission. He was telling me a skid of them and blah, 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 blah. So he was gone. So anyway, they kind of come and go. So I'm not saying, but I think that's why I'm kind of leaning towards, even for myself, even for some of you guys, even for some of the young bucks starting out, I keep going to, I've heard this 2 or 3 times. One was from Stan from Genetics, Dirt Monkey. Other one's from the Millennial Farmer. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of him. And there was one more, and I can't remember who it was. Can't remember. But I feel like it was 3 people. And these guys, one deals with tractors, one deals with all kinds of lawn care equipment, excavating, dump trucks, right? When I started hearing, they said, whoever you use, right? If it's Ford, Chevy, GM, Toyota, whoever is closest as a dealer for you, who provides you with the best service. And the more I get with these gray hairs, I keep going, you got to go with service, man. You got to go with service. And it's just my opinion. Probably about everyone except for maybe like Service Spring has felt like they come off the rails, right? Like I heard through the Brazilian guy, he was saying how LiftMaster, what was it, 16 or 19? I realized LiftMaster got bought out. So LiftMaster, he said, he's explaining why their stuff is getting cheaper. And I was like, whoa, I didn't realize this. That might make sense. Now, in his videos, he was also explaining how he thought maybe he wished that, and I'm just assuming here. He was saying that with Lanier and Genie, he wished that the circuit boards, right, the wall buttons, had a little more features. Now, this is just my theory. My theory is the reason those don't have more features, I wish I could have been there with them, is I was thinking because they still do, I don't know what that is, wet contacts versus the dry contacts that LiftMaster does now. Now, that's probably why the wall buttons are still very primitive, right? They don't have no little temperature gauge, or you can't learn from them, or blah, 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 right? They're because they're basically a doorbell that you could wear a doorbell. So I don't know. I ran it on. But yes, Midland, I would consider them. They were like, hey, if they walked in and they were kind of like, heck yeah, you know what I mean? Do it. I mean, Safeway guy got in here with donuts, or not donuts, with cookies, Girl Scout cookies. And I don't think Randy works there anymore. Randy was a good guy. He was pretty on top. But the problem is some of these places, they shift, right? And it's like, I was trying to think, and I don't know, and I'm not trying to be mean by this or anything, but I just was kind of thinking the other day. I thought about it a little. I went, I don't think there's, besides maybe Tanner. Tanner's got a few employees, and I know some of you guys got like some helpers and stuff, but I was thinking, I don't think I got anybody on the channel, and it's just I can't think of it right off the top of my head that actually has like 7 employees. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to think about that. I was like, I don't, besides the helpers and the workers and the stuff like that. And I tell you what, when you step out, it's a different animal, right? Like you want everything as easy and as smooth as butter for them, for your secretary, to the employees, to subs, to customers that are just in and purchase things. You want everything to be as smooth as possible, and that puts you rely a lot on the vendors. When you're out there just like myself, or you're an independent basically, or you're always at every job, you know how to get yourself out of that paper bag. I mean, you are the MacGyver. We are the MacGyvers. We know how to take the knife, right, and flip it every situation. Oh, here's a screwdriver. Got it. You know what I mean? Yeah, this Leatherman's got a welder on it even too. It's amazing, like the old MacGyver movie. But when you get vendors, right, like especially like you try to send somebody out with a hardware box, right, and they didn't keep hand quite as stocked as you would or something, and they're missing brackets. And now it turns into, it's like they always want, a first thing is, it's like they want to tell you, this thing didn't come with the brackets. Okay, do you got some on it? Well, yeah, but yeah, it didn't come with them though. I got every one but one. And you're like, it work? Well, yeah. Okay, let's make it work. Yeah, yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Dun, 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 dun. I think there's ones out there though. I think Tanner's got, is it like Central or something like that? These guys says, Dave, do you ever buy spring snakes from Silver Spring and cut them down? Every spring you need, or box sizes. What is the best cost savings when you figure in time? So that's a great question. So you got to obviously, and hey, we got up to 12 likes. Thanks for hitting the like button. If you could just come in, hit the like button. Hit the like button twice. I don't know, hit it 3 times. 3 times. That's how you hit it. So I'll tell you kind of like on a personal note, right? So I remember there was a time when the business has always been through all kinds of different times, right? We've been in the business is always, especially in the garage door, it's up and down, right? So there was a time buying Raw Springs, it was a little bit cheaper. And then, in business and life, I think this is life, life advice here. Everything turns into, right? Sometimes you have more time than you have money, and then there's times you have money than you do time. That just seems like that's life. And so I was buying these Raw Springs, and so typically what I would do is I'd buy Raw Springs when I'd run into a garage door situation that I didn't have, like I needed one that was like 4 inches longer. So maybe I put it on there, tweak the opener a little bit to compensate. Not the best thing to do, right? But I did it. And then I told myself, I did not want this to happen again. So I'd order a pair of springs. So I had them so I could go back to the shop and cut them down. And I could make them right. So I was doing that for a while. And then I was also just buying them, and I was just saving cones, right? I was like, just throwing these cones in the scrap hopper. I'm just going to save all the cones. Like I'll tear them off. I mean, the cones are like $3-5. I don't know what they cost right now. But then when I started at it, there was a point where I was looking at my time. Business started picking back up, and I'm like, I can't keep up. Here was another thing that I ran into. That's something you could overlook. When you order them through Service Spring to the right dimensions, Service Spring puts the wire size on. They also put the length on there. They put a line on there. That is a huge help. Like, that is a huge help. Now, I don't know if I've ever shared this before, so this is a good thing you brought it up. We carried around 14 to 17 springs is what we average on the truck for our residential customers. What I would do is, when they're sitting in a van underneath a shelf or whatever, they get kind of combobulated. And so what I would do is, I got sick of always digging, right? I'd pull one out and I'd be like, oh, 218, sweet. Where's the other one? Well, I started running into somebody used the van, or it was even my son would make the mistake. I'd throw 2 left hands in or something, right? I was like, so I'd be at the customer sweating, right? Just trying to get on to the next job. Fudge, man, I got 2 left hands. What am I doing now? I need a left and a right. So what I started learning is I would actually take the springs I'd wrap them. We had this, I don't know if there's any sitting right here, cellophane that you just get from like U-Haul or whatever. It's only about yay wide. It's a green color. You take your 218, your left and your right, and you join them together, right? You know they're right. If you put a wrap, either at the end and one at the bottom, wrap them together. It was a lot easier to identify. Plus, now that Service Spring, we ordered them. It's easy to identify because they're already nice and white and they got the lines on them and they tell you the length and everything. I'm always trying to idiot-proof things, even for myself. I don't like to think a lot. Man, you know how it is. You got a yipping dog. You got a little kid, wants to climb your ladder, to the customer that's, trying to maneuver through your van or whatever because they got to leave, or it just turns into chaos. So that's just a little tip. So, wrap those things together. But for us, it started becoming, when you buy a certain weight, I know Service Spring can tell you this, you buy a certain weight, you get a discount. So like for us, when we order springs, we order a skid load, and then we get a better rate on them. So it even makes them cheaper. And it turns into, you don't even waste your time, anymore. It's like, whatever, just throw them away, the bones and everything. So that's my little 2 cents. But yes, we do have raw springs. I always thought the perfect would be, if you ever wanted to really execute springs, is just have approximately a 20-foot trailer, good axles under it, heavy duty axles, good tire. I don't know what you need, even 16 ply or bigger, whatever. Big axles on that puppy. And make tubes in there, whatever, make shelves, and have springs in there. I always wanted to have it where I could have residential and commercial. That might be getting a little too greedy, but you have that where you could take it. Yes, it might be inconvenient. Maybe you make a smaller trailer for your residential and you have your bigger one for your commercial ones. I always wanted to attempt it, the commercial ones at least, because there might be one company in town that would have commercial springs. Otherwise, the closest place is probably in Lansing, Michigan. It's all of 2 hours, So the commercial ones, right? They always, it's a dock door or something, not a dock door, it's a gravel door. They need it, You spend so much time screwing with it, getting up there, measuring it. You got all the stuff there, right? You already got the scissor lift there. It's like, damn, man. It's like, let's just make a spring and be done with this place. You know what I mean? Because now you got to come back, got to unload the scissor lift. You got to, just a lot of things, you know what I mean? So the trailer I thought would always be a good idea. Haven't gone there yet, but somebody will. And maybe somebody will show me theirs. Tony. Do 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 do. That's what I was thinking, Tony. I usually keep a good selection and a few long ones from each war size. Cut them down when needed. Rusty, I think I missed Tony. Rusty, I thought about doing that, but you got to carry damn 10-foot snakes. Yes, you do. With it in a time, cut it down, way easier. Springs already have it with cones. Exactly. You know what I mean? That's why I was kind of always thinking like the trailer, and then the customer or the secretary would have to get good information. And this is one of those things where I'm always like, for me, right, I want pictures. Like, I want a picture in the back, take a picture with the garage door, the spring, right? Because most of us can identify, oh, there's a separation, right? Because how many times you get customers that call and they go, my cables came off. Like, I doubt that, the cables probably did come off, probably because you have a single spring, or you're running it too long and you broke the second spring on there. But more likely, it's a broken spring. You go to it all the time. My cables came off. My cables broke. You see that separation there, but I just thought, hey, if I knew that, or if even I've had it on the phone, right? This is stuff that you just got to do. I've had can you walk out there? Yeah, I can walk out there. Can you look up? Yeah. You see that spring? Well, yeah, but there's like 3 of them. Yeah, okay. Well, really, it's that one's supposed to be together. It's separated. Can you send me a picture of that? And that I thought, like, if you had an enclosed trailer, you deploy the enclosed trailer, you're all set. It's got your springs on there. You got a welder. You basically will make it happen, because you can spend a lot of time going there. Let's say it's a weird size, it's a wood door or something. You got to make it, you got to run back to the shop. It's all about that distance thing again, right? Depends on how far you're traveling. Depends if you're kind of in that, you're in a rural area. Like I said, that's why people ask me about starting garage door business. I'm like, boy, that's a very loaded question, because your demographic, your city, the power internet nowadays. I just look at it like, and I go, you might be better off selling cars on eBay or something, or hay implements or something, you know what I mean, or whatever, because of just your location. It just depends, you know what I mean? Some people, it just depends. What do you got for competition too, and all that kind of stuff. What did you think about? To always cut spring down. You have, if you really need to. Because who was it? I think it was Tanner. I think Tanner was messaging me on a Saturday or something like that. He had one that blew off the cone. It was commercial size. I don't know if it was a 3-inch or if it was a 6. But I told him, I said, you got to get a little kit, that little torch kit, man. I said, that's a lifesaver. I've had it before too, where the cone, you know, the spring breaks. I've literally, just to get me out of a pickle, I've cut the crap off, right? And I've taken it, I've rewound it, you know, because it just seems like it's that door that they need running, right? You know how it goes. What service vehicles do you have in your fleet? Eric says, I think we got the cutaway van, which I would recommend. If you're going to cutaway van, I think I would go with the dually. If you're going to kind of do the service that we do, I think overload it to a certain degree. It doesn't seem like it likes trailers, those cutaway vans. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google it. I didn't know what a cutaway van was until I started searching. That's where I got my big one. Got that for a steal. Actually, I found that one on Craigslist. I got that for like $5,200. You know, it was a steal. I mean, for back then, it was great. That was a great van. It was really a great van. I think the two Chevys. One's a Chevy, one's a GMC. One's a I don't know what the classifications are. Both 3500s. I think the one's 4.3 in it, liter, which has worked really good. It's pretty decent on gas. It's a solid little setup. It pulls the scissor lift and everything fine. Glad though we went with the 3500. We've had 2500s and I've seen those things squatting. So, oh, and by the way, I see a few people jumped in. Hit the like button if you would, please. Just hit the like button. If you're cruising through, whatever, say hello, tell me the temperature, tell me what state you're in, whatever. But anyways, they're both 3500s. I hear that the guys seem to like the little bit longer van. They said the door sections fit in there better. It's just a little bit nicer. So I don't know what they call that. Maybe an expand. I think it's got another foot or two on the end. It seems a little long for me, honestly, but it works. So I think we got the 3. I don't think anybody else drives one home. Yeah, so we got those. And I had my service vehicle, but I don't really use it. Like I said, I'm kind of out here for you guys now. I'm kind of fighting for the young bucks. You know what I mean? Teaching them, and I like it. I like the challenge. You know what I mean? Because I got a list, so my list is pretty. It's not always. I don't got always everything, but I got it down pretty darn good. Where if I got to fly to something or I do something, grab the old Milwaukee cases. You know, and that's why I'm telling you, when you're doing this stuff, it's hard to do it in the moment, right? Because you're nervous, you're sweating, you're scared. But make yourself a list every time. Get yourself a nice book if you want, and that way, almost do it when you're there. You know what I mean? Like if you can do it while you're there, walk out to the. I know it takes 5 minutes, and you need to be out there. But I'm telling you, if you don't do it now, you won't do it later. Just walk out and say, you know what? Next time on a 9 foot whatever, or 9 by 7, or 9 by 8 door, bring a 6 foot ladder, because you got to have a 4 foot and you got to have a 6 foot or whatever. Just bring a 6 foot. Those little things to deal really help. Blah, blah, blah. Rusty, trucks are you running? Rusty, how many trucks / vans are you running now, Dave? It's just the 3. And then you got the Nissan. Like I said, the Nissan's nothing. That's just a beater truck. Tony's guy says, I have 2 trucks and 1 van, man. I know, I was thinking the other day about it. Oh, it's probably when that video, hopefully you guys seen it, where Cap got stuck going up the hill. I was like, God darn it. I was like, we haven't needed a tug or anything in so long. And I thought, here we are, God darn it. Got to make a video about this. Freaking van's getting stuck. And I thought, this is why you got a truck. I can just hear, this is why you get a truck. This is why Tanner's got the 4-wheel drive. Love you, Tanner. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, but I'm just so glad we got it out. I'm so glad the Nissan. That day we were toast. I try to make the videos to a certain length, you know what I mean? And man, that thing was We were already fighting that Menards door. That was Rush. That was the video prior to it. Hey, we got up to 15 likes. Thanks for the likes. And so that Menards door was already just like, we're hot, we're sweaty. The sun was beating when we were doing that weather seal. I mean, it was just that like radiant sun where it's just like hitting the door, and you're just like, I'm cooking both ways to Sunday. God darn it. And it was like, I drove down there not even thinking nothing of it either. And Cap kind of goes, man, he goes, I can make that hill. I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, you got this big scissor lift too, dude. I'm like, oh no. And so we go to leave to go to lunch, and we start climbing it. And I can, you know how you just know your vehicle, you're like, we are right to that point about slipping out. Like, I'm gonna have to throw this thing in 4-wheel drive. And what I was mentioning kind of in that video is, like, I just put new hubs. I haven't even touched 4-wheel drive on this thing yet, you know, because normally it only happens when I'm up like hunting season or something. And I was like, whoa. So I was nervous. That's why I said, hey, let me, I said, I figured it was for good luck. I was like, let me film this. I thought he's going to stop through here, no problem. Oh, no, he didn't. It was all glad. I'm so glad we had the second truck there. I'm just so glad we were able to get it out, because we were toast, man. And I kept thinking, oh my God. I kept thinking, I'll have to call one of the buddies. You know, we could drop the trailer off, leave the trailer there. You know what I mean? Just the time, baby. You know, like the older I get, it's all about time. You know what I mean? The time. And it was time to go home and have a cold one and get a shower, because it was getting to be grumpy time. Rusty says we run two 2500 Chevys. Rusty, you said Chevys. Are you talking vans or trucks? And if you had your option, would you go to truck, or would you go to a 3500, or would you go with a van? I still love the vans. Almost thought about one of the vans that gets retired when a new one comes in, taking it, but I don't know. Eric's guy says Amazon got Chamberlain and Beanie. They also got a brand called Beam Up, what I believe are relabeled Lanier products. Oh, interesting. Well, thanks for letting us know that. That's pretty cool. So Amazon can ship 7-foot rails. Oh, they're going to be pieced together just like the box stores. They're not going to be solid rails. Tony says, Eric, he says Tanner would be the one you'd want to talk to about the Midland doors. I believe he sells those. Only reason I've ever dealt with Midland is our vendor. That's roughly about 45 minutes. It's a mom and pop shop. They deal with them, and I've had like 0 issues with them. I mean, packaged nice. You know how something just feels like, maybe you go into somebody else's pilot's house, or you go into like a military person maybe, you know, and like their stuff is like crisp. You know what I mean? Like it just felt crisp. Like you open up their hardware box, everything in there is just like nicely organized. There's a little list on it with all check marks, somebody's initials, and you're like, damn. You're like, somebody took some pride in this thing, man. Like somebody saw, like, you know, they're not going to catch me red-handed or doing something wrong. I've been doing this. I've been here 10 years. My stuff is perfect. And just everything felt real crisp and nice, and nothing, no frills, no like, oh, here's some silent glide rollers. Yeah, just regular rollers. I don't even know if some were nylon, maybe some were steel. That's fine. Just give me some rollers with some bearings in them at least. You know what I mean? Not the glides. No cheapy hinges. Just, you know, their bottom seal. I don't know if they're still doing the bottom retainer with aluminum. I like that. I'm always like, you want to get to my heart, an aluminum bottom retainer. Like, I was so bummed when I was at the ID. I was like there. I remember I was at the ID show, and I'm just walking. I'm walking up to the Haas. I'm like, oh, I'm talking to somebody today. I'm getting handshakes. We're making a contract today. And I'm walking around. The guy comes up. He's like, can I help you? I'm like, yes, you can. I'm like, I want to look at these doors. And I'm looking at them, and I start touching. I'm like, what's up with the bottom retainer? He's like, oh, I guess it's always been like that or something. He's like, we've always used plastic. And I'm like, man, I don't remember it being plastic. Like I dealt with them like years ago, and I don't remember plastic. I remember the trap being riveted together, which was always like a blessing and a curse all in the same, right? Because if you had new construction and the framer built the jam right, oh baby, the riveted brackets, you just slam that puppy up, zip, 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 zip. Hell yeah, we go, babe. It's great. But then you get into the customer that's got the wood sticking out, and you need to shim it, and you need adjustment, and you're like, oh, and you have to drill every rivet out. You know, I hate Haas for this. You know, it was always kind of a double sword. But when I seen that plastic retainer, he gave me some brochures, and I was like, I'm good. I'm good. Like we got plastic bottom retainers. Like I was like, I'm good. I got to think about this. I've been waiting. I've been in, with my bonnet sucking my thumb, thinking about this, and now this is where I'm at. You ruined it for me, dude. Sorry. Eric says, in the 2010s, LiftMaster started to sell the wall panels with the screen, and they still use the dry contacts. When they switched over to the new electron limits, they switched to wet. Oh. Eric, did LiftMaster just didn't the Brazilian dog guy, didn't he say something? Wasn't it like 1619? Didn't LiftMaster just got bought out by another company, it sounds like? Tyler, he says, how much do you pay the secretary? Ooh, I don't even know. I don't know what they pay him now. I'm kind of out of that department. I don't know. I don't even know what's a good fare on these days. You know what I mean? Secretaries, they work hard. They get it a little bit easy. They work from home, so they don't have to drive in. Now our secretary is like 2 hours away, and another one is roughly about an hour, and they do a great job. They're great, and it's great having two secretaries because normally if one's going on vacation, the other one, they normally work together to make sure that their schedules, so somebody's always covered. And it's nice because we have a lot of overflow, which I learned, so like one secretary will be on the phone, you know how it is. You get a customer that just wants to tell you their life story, the phone's ringing. It's nice that the next secretary can be in line to catch that. Then I think it even goes down the line to the third, there's a fourth, there's a fifth phone. So it's like we come through the system. I used to have it so it forwarded to me even on my cell phone. But it really all depends on your area and stuff. I kind of wanted to try it. I dabbled around with it a little bit. I didn't sign up or anything. I wanted to try, is it Jill's? I think it's Jill's office. You can have and I would definitely still entertain it. You can have them make a script. The thing is, I don't think you're not getting a designated person. It kind of rotates through, and then when that call comes in, I think it comes on like a computer screen. It'll say like how to answer it, and so the person will just answer, hi, you reached the affordable door and gate, how may I help you today? And then the problem is that what I think, and I don't know, I'd love to get somebody's feedback if they ever used it, that they're basically catching it for you, but they can't really like set things up or know the schedule or know how things are performed. So that's what's really nice about having your own independent secretaries, because they know how the system is. They know like there was a point where like I know Cap, would tell them, say, look, we are slammed, no more residential. Like we're done with residential. And unless it's one of our customers, a previous customer, we always take care of them. We'll fit them in somewhere, but we're not taking anything new. Try to recommend somebody around town for them to use. So it just all depends where you're at. But those would be cool to see. I'd like to see that, how they, because I don't know if I think you pay like a monthly, and then you might pay per call. But you don't be afraid to like express some of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, because it's tough, man. It is super tough. And I think it's getting even tougher to find just workers in everything. Everything. People just do not have work ethics. People just don't know. I don't know, man. The world's going crazy. Steven, he's got, what do you got? I got tool recommendation for replacing springs. He says to keep the torque tube from falling out of the center bracket. Harbor Freight vice grip for welding skew. Ooh, 11 is something right. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. Might need that. That's always a good idea. So what is it for when you're changing it? I think the way I always, if I remember, how did I do it? Because that always is a problem. It's embarrassing too, especially in front of the customer. And a 16-foot door, you know, sometimes with other spring in that, it can belly and it can almost kind of kink the shaft. I've had that happen. How do I do that? I think I always leave a bolt. You know, like when I detach my bolts, like if there's an old spring, I just throw a bolt in real quick, twist it, and that would keep it from falling out. I think that's how I did it. Or maybe I took vice grips and I just snapped them in there. It's a while since I did a spring change. But I just throw a bolt, slide the other one out, you know, wobble the other one on, and just vice versa, change it with a new bolt, put that one. But I'll check out that tool, that's for sure. Thanks for mentioning that. Like I said, it'd be cool to... Oh, he's got it right here. Tony's got it. Says, Stevens, are you talking C-clamp? Was that Scripps? Grips, not Scripps. I got it. I'm thinking, what, like, we got a place around here called Scripps Pizza. We talk about Scripps Pizza? I'm hungry. Tony, no, he says it's a vice grip, but with special 3-inch wide split jaws. Works great. Huh. So it's like it's just wide enough that you hit it and you're getting both the top and the lower. That's pretty cool. That's always good, man. Especially if you're by yourself. Oof. What did I used to do? I'm trying to think. I used to use the J-bar for something. Oh, that's what it was. So what I would do, not saying you guys should do it, it's probably not the best for the end bearing. So let's say like a 16x7 or just a pan door, right? Simple, easy door job. I would take your spring unwound. I would take and do my bolts. I'd get on the end, right? And I'd shove the shaft if I had the room, right? We're talking that nice garage that's just got abundance of room each side. I'd shove the shaft over one way. I'd literally let it fall. I don't know if any of you guys do this. Let me know if you do it. Say, what can we do? Put a tight number 1, I guess. Tight number 1 if you do what I do, right? And what it is I'll push the shaft, the hollow shaft over. I'll get the spring out, right? And if the customer's not around, because their mind can't process, they're like, what are you doing? You know, you can't do that. But I'll let it rest on the J-arm, right? And I'll actually, when I was like Speedy Gonzalez, you know, like, I got 20 jobs to do today. So what I'd do is I'd pull the springs off, pull both my springs off, get that plastic bearing, right? Hey, appreciate it. We got 17 likes too. Thanks for hitting the like button. So anyways, I pull that stuff off, you know, flip my new springs on, right? Put the bearing back in, blah, blah, blah. Slide that puppy on there, get back up. The J-arm would help me, you know, on the opener to cradle that thing. I never really paid attention when I did the bearing. I think there was enough flex in the shaft and everything. I get up on the ladder, I push, you know, whatever. I wouldn't really have to push. It's already good. Slip that puppy back into the drum, right? Normally, I think it would be bellied still. No, I actually, when I'd get the spring slid over, I'd pick it up and get it on that bracket as a bear, because you got to be careful. You got to go kind of slow, right? And that point, because otherwise it could slip out, and that's when it does that weird kink to it a little bit. Or I just left it belly, and I go up there and boom, boom, my bolts in, you know, start winding it. Steven, when I'm doing a spring job, I pull the shaft out, the bearing plate, and set it all down on the operator. Oh my gosh. Here's Tony just saying the same damn thing. I thought I was the only one that knew the trick. I thought I invented it. I'm starting to wonder if, like, Tony, are you my dad? There, cheers to that. Son of a biscuit. Okay, set it all down on the operator arms. Slide the springs off that one end. Man, Tony took my thunder. Rusty's guy says, Dave, vans make Me sad. 3/4 truck boys. He says we have run diesels 3,500 in the past, and with all start and stop driving had problems consistently. Man, I'm sure the diesel trucks. I watch was it Dave's Garage out there? Was it those CP4 pumps? How they grenade and they send all that shrapnel. I mean, don't tell Tanner, but I cannot stand diesels. I cannot stand them. Don't get me wrong. I love diesels, right? I like the ones that are pre-emissions. You know, the 7.3, the 5.9 Cummins. You know, some of the Duramax is really good. But all the emissions they're putting on this stuff, I'm out. I'm out. Can't afford it. Too expensive. No thanks. But that's cool. 3,500. He says, don't change. I love it. What we got? Is it CC Motions? I am the homeboy. Don't change. Love it. Love it. Appreciate it. Hey, appreciate it too. We got 17 left. That's awesome for the night. Thanks for being here. Thanks for asking the questions. It's fun. I enjoy it. I really do. It did. You wouldn't believe how much talking to you guys, it brings the memories back, right? Where it's like those things, I push them in the back. Sometimes I try to get some of this stuff, and then it's like, oh my gosh, that's right. That's how I do stuff. Right? And like I said, I'm always for the new generation coming up. You know, I love that's my passion now. I really enjoy training and teaching and to tell people my mistakes, so hopefully they don't have to make mistakes. It's fun running some of the stuff through you guys too, and it's like just like Tony does the same thing. I was first. I'm just gonna say I was first. Right? No way Tony was first. No way. Tony says, I just shared this with a friend of mine out in Texas. He owns a garage door company. He had a problem, probably 11 employees. We'll see if he gets on. Heck yeah, I should, man. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. Tony says, don't forget the like button, guys. Appreciate it, man. We're doing good. We're doing good for a Sunday. Everybody's, man, Monday's coming. Oh, it's a full week too, right? No short week. But you gotta keep hustling right now because it's coming, baby. It's the end of the year is going to be here before we know it. It says, yes, exactly. Peter S. What was Peter guy? He says Papa Tony. Oh my gosh. Tony's got one all the time. I told that whole story, and Tony's was the next comment. I can't believe it, man. I just can't believe it. So right here, so Rusty says, which I believe he's right, but I don't know if it really does. I never had a problem with it. Rusty says, no, Dave. He says, I never do that when changing the springs because it bends the bearing plate. I'm not saying it doesn't put some torque on it, but I'm just saying I never had a bearing pop out. I never seen a bearing when I was always setting the drums was like, oh, I shouldn't have, you know what I mean? I think it almost flexes the shaft, in my opinion, some degree. I think it's in the shaft, and it probably is putting pressure on that bearing. I have no doubt. But, man, if you got a scoot and boogie, customer's not sitting there babysitting you, I throw it right down that J-bar, man. I slip those puppies right off and shove them right back on. It's the fastest, quickest. Boom. You know, and that's why I also like those service spring ones, right? Because if they're already labeled, they already got the line on them. I don't have to mark them. I don't have to paint them. I've had that issue before because you got to watch sometimes if you got a nice house, you know, you're spraying paint. When I was younger, I did some stuff like all I had was like pink, you know, and I was like, oh, it'll be fine. You know, I'll do it so fast and never like oversprayed. And I'm like, there's like a little bit of splatter you can see like, you know, on a white wall. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. It'll wear off, you know. Or I customers before like they don't really like, so you should probably use white paint most of the time. Customers before like I used to have like the ground marking paint. I don't know why. I guess I thought it was cool or something. I don't know. So I'd be marking them like pink, hot pink, or like orange, you know, before I'd be turned into a little more classy, I guess. I remember people, they come out of the garage and be like, why is there pink on there? Well, it just tells me how many turns. They just kind of be like that. Okay, whatever. Whatever. How much do I owe you? So same thing. Service Springs got the white and black. They got the lines already on it, or use white spray paint, or get markers that you've seen me use before. You get them from Lowe's. Those work pretty good. They're real goopy. Eric says, I love diesel. I tried, man. I tried with the diesel. They just didn't work. The diesel, the problem I've noticed with diesels, it seems like, is you got more fuel filters that need to be changed. They're one of those things, right? Like if you're across the country or you're going side to side of a state every day and you're working it and you're pulling like those guys that are pulling like skidsters and really heavy loads. They got welders on their truck and all these, they're pulling huge enclosed trailers. Yeah, baby, you got to have it. You know what I mean? But I've flip-flopped a lot, right? Like I had is it a 4.6? I can't remember. 4.6 Ford. Bought that because the other truck was too much, right? I had one time with the Hemi. The Hemi seemed like it was overpowered. Imagine that. I don't know how I ever thought. It always would. Tires were always skidding out of it. I guess I just had a heavy foot. Got rid of that truck. Was a little lifted. Wasn't really a good work truck. Bought a Ford with a topper, the construction topper on it. Then I went to now it's underpowered. Then I jumped up to the 6.4, right? Problem with 6.4 was in the garage all the time. And that had the emissions on it. Stuff got deleted. Plenty of power. Loved it. Beautiful truck. Great. But it just seemed like every time somebody drove it, an employee, wife, they come back and they'd be like, lights on. I'm like, what? I'm like, it hasn't been on in 6 months. What did you do? And they're like, I just drove to Lowe's. I'm like, were you hot rodding it? So it's always, and every time I had to take it in. It was like, you open up those hoods on these things now and they're just like Transformers, right? The movie, it's like everything's moving and it's like, oh my gosh, like what does this do? Where do you even work on this thing? So you got to do something, especially it seems like with business, you got to either keep a new fleet going or you got to keep something that's reliable, you know what I mean? It just all depends on what you're doing. You know what I mean? You got a lot of hills. Like, I tell you what, I was out in was it like Colorado? I'd probably have a diesel for a service truck because god dang, those hills, man. I had a minivan out there one time. I thought I was going to blow that thing up because we had it look down with the family members and, all your gear. And wow, man, the hills just kill you. Do you like that, Tony? So Tony says, yeah, Rusty, it says he popped that leg out and it usually, okay, so don't bend it. Tony, that's a good one. I love it. Tony's got it. Tony says, he says, my son, he says, I think I was the first. Dude, this is like so perfect timing. I went over to my mom's the other day. I don't know if she wanted me to try something or whatever. I think she's the only person that calls me David. And I don't care. I don't care David or Dave. It doesn't bother me. I've been called worse, right? And to see that Tony puts on here, David's son, I think, man, you guys are, it's the second time I've heard it. I haven't heard it in months. Oh. Rusty's guy says 6.6 Chevrolet gas I use gets about 12.5 miles per gallon daily doing service. That's 6.6. Is it 6.6? Does it the fuel active management? Does it where it cuts off the cylinders? Because I don't, I'd be curious, Rusty, like how many miles you got on it or what year it is. Because I feel like I get mixed feelings on those. Like I get people that are kind of like they're great, they're powerful. Then I thought I heard, do they have oil pump problems on those ones? They're on the front, something weird. Just don't know. I don't know if they're good. Okay, so Rusty says no active fuel management, which is good. Like I said, it's going to be interesting. I told Cap, I said, hey man, I said, you might want to get at least one of them in. The service vans, the transmission fluid changed, and that's always a real dicey. The vans are sitting around 60, 80,000 miles. And it might make them worse because by the time you put that fluid in there, it might slick something up and then the torque converter. But I'm bummed, man. I'm bummed that there had supposedly torque converter problems with that. I was like, man, we had pretty good luck with those. I think we had like, what do we have? Like 03, 07. They must have had a different transmission. I don't know. They went to the, I think it's a 6-speed that's in there now. Maybe an 8. I don't know. All I know is I told the transmission guy and he's like, yep. He goes, those are the converter problems. And I'm like, God dang it. I was like, really? It's like, man, I used to buy those Chevy vans. I remember I bought one at an auction. I seen it. The secretary seen it, our old secretary. And she was like, dude, look at this. She's like looking, you know. And I'm like, bid on that, bid on that. Got it for like a song and a dance. It was like $700 or something, right? I failed to look at the miles. And I looked at it and I'm like, holy crap, like it's got like 300,000 miles on it. And I remember I was telling my brother-in-law, and he was big into, he was changing a lot of LS and doing a lot of LS stuff. And we were going down west and all that, Holly. I think it was down in Kentucky. And he's like looking at me riding the truck and he's like, I'm like, dude, I bought this van. Like, it's got 300. He's like, so? He's like, those things go 400,000 or 500,000. I'm like, really? He's like, oh yeah, they're solid. And we drove it. I don't know, probably put like 20. It was getting rusty, unfortunately. So we ended up getting rid of it. But it ran. Never had no really problems. And then now it's like these new ones. It's like you got to babysit all this new crap, you know? Like, you can't make another transmission that's built off the old technology. It's like garage door openers. You're driving me nuts. It's a 22. Okay, it's a 22 with, 99. Holy cow, man. Getting close. And only have needed a radiator replacement, 80. That's not bad at all. So I'm averaging 150, 200 miles per day. Man, that seems like quite a bit. Does that seem like a lot for mileage? It feels like when I did that math on that Ford EcoBoost, I figured I had to add almost like another 100 miles to make that truck worth the fuel savings. That blew my mind. Because at the time when gas was whatever, you know, like $4, $4.50 a gallon, I was like, you know, every day it was just like, all I kept looking at the gas pump, like, we're putting so much money in the gas tank. And then when I sat down and did the math, well, this truck gets this, you know, per miles per gallon, whatever. And it was like, we did the math, and I was driving around a lot. And I feel like I was driving around like 150 miles, I thought. And I didn't think about where the guys go around here. And I bet they only go, I think they only go like 80, 100 miles a day, maybe, in our distance. If I had to guess, there's a few that I know they probably do 150 at least. And so if anybody else, let me know what you run for mileage. I'm just curious. I worked with a lady who was a service manager. Roger that, Tony. What's it? It says, so Peter S. says, I worked with a lady who was a service manager at a car dealership. She said, don't buy anything that was made during the pandemic because the quality control was terrible. Peter, I'm dude, I can't tell you how, I'm really glad you brought that up because I kind of felt like I was the only one that thought that. And I remember when it was kind of going on and I knew all the problems that we were having. And I remember we had some multi-code remotes that something changed in those even. And we had some loop detectors and they're like telling me, oh, they're the same. And I said, no, they're not. I said, the one I'm holding's white. I said, the other one's black. I'm like, don't tell me I don't know the difference between black and white. I'm like, it's not the same. The same is the same, right? And they're like, well, we normally get them from China And now, China's having problems, so we're getting these from Mexico. And I'm thinking, okay, then they're not the same. And it's like, the one that you gave me does not work. And I was, I'm like an hour and 15 minutes away from my vendor. I'm all flipping mad because I'm working on a gate. And of course, this customer's like, we need to get the gate working by a certain time because, it's going to be 4th of July. And, those cars, those people are just so nosy and they're going to want to drive in here if the gate's not working. And I'm like, I know, and I already drove all the way to our vendor, and I don't know. So, but I'm glad you brought that up because I agree. And I don't know if we've ever covered. So let me know what you think, Peter. I don't know if we're covered. I think things have gotten obviously more stable, but it feels like the quality of everything has gone down ever since. And that's why I hope and I pray we don't go through another one of those because I don't know if we can handle it because stuff has never recouped the way I thought it should have ever since it happened. You know what I mean? It just feels like the products have gone down, the service has gone down, besides Service Spring. They've came right back up or better. But I can't think of anything. I mean, it's always such a roll of the dice. Depending if you go to a fast food joint, the grocery store, some of the box stores, it's tough, man. It's tough and then you got to fight your way through to figure out what's good or what's bad. Like I'd love for every one of you, and myself included, to go buy new vehicles. But I tell you what, I am scared as hell with some of these vehicles that are coming out. With the issues they're having, and they're changing stuff, and I don't know if they're doing it. It's kind of like I think the garage door companies do the same thing a little bit now, where they run a certain production for whatever it is, 5 or 6, 8 years, and then they change the production line. Right? Think about it. Think about the business aspect of that. You know what I mean? In 5 or 6 years, whatever, customer hits the bottom panel, you call up the vendor and like, hey, I need to buy a bottom section for a AMR 1000. Oh, we've changed that. We don't do that pinch resistant design anymore. So now you got to buy a whole new door. Oh, awesome. Well, the customers need a bottom section. They're not going to be happy. You know what I mean? And really, this door sucks. Everything that's put in here because they built shelving all around it or whatever, or it's behind walls or, drywall because the guy wasn't thinking about the garage door guy. And you're like, I really could just section. And I even pay double for it. And like, sorry, we don't produce anymore. So now you just got to buy their goddamn new door or go with somebody else. And I don't like that. I don't like that we're getting pushed in that direction for all this stuff. It really irritates me. Here. Work to do anything that was during the pandemic. Rusty's guy says, during our cough fire, Flipmaster was shipping out 85s with the wrong circuit board. And they would surprise you and run 2 times faster. Holy catfish. It was any made in August of that year. I don't know. I guess if anybody out there knows or thinks that I haven't really thought about, maybe put it in the comments. Is there any kind of, what do you think? Is there going to be a surprise this time? We're getting close. I think they say everything's kind of like a season, right? And fall is when things fall. And, people are around the TV more. People aren't as ambitious. Is there something that you think is going to happen? What you're going to have to do mail-in? We're going to have the monkey pox, or is it that's they're not going to do that again? We're going to have some people. We're going to have we're going to have some people around with they're going to deliver bricks on skids to corners so they can throw them at the locations, the business, and do something. What do you guys think? What's going to happen? Is I don't know. I just keep thinking, what's going to be? Maybe there's going to be a big explosion. Let's hope not. Maybe it's I don't know. I don't even think I've been hearing much about the whole the Russia and the Ukraine. You know, I keep saying, you know, whatever, because we were funding. I don't know, man. I tell you what a disappointment. What a disappointment to see that guy come into to the to the House, the Congress, or you know, when they're sitting there. I've never seen people, their faces look like school kids. That is like show and tell, or it's treat day, right? Somebody's birthday. I've never seen people sitting there clapping, so excited this guy, and I'm sitting there going, "What the hell am I watching? Like, why are these people like this dude? You know, that comes in the green army shirt, you know, everybody else is in suit and ties, you know, and sitting there, and you know, because obviously there's something going on. They're getting funded. It's ridiculous. I don't think our founders would be real happy. That's just my opinion. So Rusty says, I'm building some savings for the coming months. So if it slows down, we are affected, which is a good idea, and can keep advertising. Tony says, I have to agree, crazy. Dude, I just, you know, I tell you what, this is, like I said, it's just my opinion. I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers, but It all changed for me when it was the 9 and the 1 and the 1. When the, you know, that's when things really, like, I was on board. I was on board, baby. And then when they showed those pictures of the Mr. Bush, and he was like, oops, there wasn't no weapons of mass. I just was like, how in the flip-flop? And then I think that's when I was kind of like, my brain turned into like, let's say you don't like the neighbor's dog. Like you're not gonna send like a whole army to get rid of it, right? You're gonna probably like poison us. Maybe it runs out on the road or something. The gate gets left open, like, you know what I mean? And I thought, wait a minute, like what's going on here? Like if they want somebody gone, and we supposedly have the best of the best, right? Just like our the ones that protected Mr. T can't get their pills in, blah blah blah. You know, we got the best of the best. Like, why don't we just send like 5, 6 or a little crew in and take care of this instead of sending all this in? You know what I mean? Like, that's when things were kind of like, something don't add. And I really feel like that was a turning point, honestly, in America. You know, and it's weird. Like, I sit there and I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks this stuff, but I think about sometimes like the vehicles were in that era of changing, right? Like, what was it? Like 07, 08 was the missions. So most of the stuff was pretty decent, right? We had the trucks. I still think about like the garage door open, like LiftMaster. I was on board, baby. I loved my LiftMaster back in the 07, 08, I think even maybe up to what, 010 or something. I can't remember exactly when they changed. Things were good, man. You had reliable stuff. I mean, stuff was kind of starting to phase out. You know, like you weren't going to get that fridge that was going to outlast you. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just, and then it just seems like it slowly just kind of, and here we are, just a pile of mush. Peter says, what's the best way to advertise? Well, that is a great one. Rusty says, Peter, anything is better to use of your money than Yelp. I don't hear anything good about Yelp. I hear one guy I follow too, he says Yelp is, just nobody ever does Yelp, right? I still believe the best of the best is either like we've talked about on here, either you got to pay, right? You got to pay to play if you want. You got to do the Google. If you don't have the budget for it, definitely get organic, right? Thing you're doing just even if you get with family members, right? Get with family members, friends, say, hey, write me up a little Google review. I started it, get all that stuff kind of going. And just remember, it's going to take time. The new Google is not like the old Google. You got to, they want certain stuff. I personally don't know this. Maybe somebody can shed some light on this. And I don't even know how they even do it. But if you do Google, can you use your home address? That's my question. Now, there's some things to think about that I want to put out there that I experienced. as just a caveat. So years ago when I started the business, I started it out of my house. There wasn't much they could do because I was in a commercial area because I had a really hard time actually getting a loan on my house. Because they zone commercial. So I had to go to forget which bank it was, but I couldn't go to like Fifth Third. I couldn't go to like PNC. I couldn't go to some of the, Chase. I had to go to like Prudential or something. I can't remember what it's called. Then I had to do a balloon, right, for 5 years. Anywho, got signed up, right? Well, guess what comes in a little later on, right? We get a letter. We get a letter from the city saying, oh, we noticed that you're running a business out of your house. You need us. You need to have so I thought it was kind of stupid, but it was like 20, 30 bucks. So then we had to start paying, right? We had to pay for a little certificate that nobody really seen because nobody really came to the house. Obviously, it was just we were always dispatched out. So I get the certificate. Basically, like one up here. We got one here. It's for the Muskegon one. If I get my finger right. We got one here, right? So we have to get. Then what started happening is it needs a little more money, right? The city. So now you got to start having that inspected. So these are just some things I want you to be aware of. And then you got to remember you're putting your address out there. So sometimes customers aren't super keen or whatever, and they start kind of showing up. Or so I ended up. That's why I put gates. I did it more or less because I had dogs, and it worked out really convenient. Up the gates and let them run around because I had a small yard. I don't even think I had quite an acre, close but not quite. So these are just some things you gotta think about a little bit because then another problem is what I found out is when we moved stuff. I mean, the advertiser guy that did our cars and our papers, he was still sending things there. We had checks still going there from businesses, right? Because their stuff doesn't like get updated. I don't know how or why or whatever, but I mean, just constantly. It went on for 2 or 3 years. I bet the guy was cool. He'd be like, "Hey, I got some checks here. I can drop them off, or we'll if you want to swing by, you're in the area." We literally just had one probably about 3 months ago that happened. And what happened was, it's because we used to work for the power plant, which is Consumers Energy. The power plant got shut down. They tore the building down. Hey, and like I said, we got 17 likes. We did pretty good tonight. Thanks for the likes. So anyway, the power plant shut down. They tore the building down. A substation or whatever, basically where like the trucks are and stuff, right? And we started for them again, right? We're working. Well, obviously somewhere in their system, that never got changed. So guess what? I get a message from Cap and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "something about like, do you still know the guy that lives at your old house?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Dude, that's been like whatever, like 6, 8, 10 years ago." Like, and he's like, "Well, consumers must have sent a check to him, And I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "Well, luckily he already sent it out, or the secretary took care of it or something." But I'm just like, Jesus. So it's just something maybe do appeal. But I don't know. I'm just telling you some of the problems I ran into. So think a little bit before you set it up. Maybe you want to use, what I'm getting at is that I don't even know Google. Everything I've set up before has always had, well, besides that one, the other business that had physical locations, commercial property. But I feel like Google's crunching down. Like I know in the one business, I know I have a buddy that's kind of in the same business. He's not even on the radar. You know what I'm saying? And mine's like at top. And I'm like, I don't know how. But the only difference I know is, and he's big on like, he's got website, everything. And I go, it's got to be like, because we have a physical location. I don't know. Nobody knows how it works. It's like taxes. Nobody knows how. You just pay it. Pay it. Maybe get some money back if you're lucky. Pay. Try not to have to pay too much in. What's he got? Peter, depends on your advertising budget. Peter says very small. Just trying to get going. Like another thing is, I I'm a very so Peter, you're probably like me. I'm a very conservative. Like I like to try little nibbles and stuff and go, ooh, that worked, and I'll give it another little bit of more money or I'm doing. But honestly, like I said, get some of those. You can order them offline. You can go to I think it's called cheapest signs or whatever. You can make them. It's a pretty easy little software. You can build, whatever. You can put whatever name on there you want. You can put your phone number, blah blah blah. They got some that are already pre-made. You go through now. What they get you, just so you know, so you're aware of this. If you do those banner signs, right, or those bandit signs, like the ones that you put by the road with stakes or whatever, they get you on the shipping, right? So you get your price, right? They'll go through the whole thing, and you're like, oh man, it's only like $70. It's not bad. You go to where the shipping part, and I think they rake you a little hard there, but it's whatever or something. It's just a little gimmicky in a sense. But you think about your time. You get from home in your underwear. You don't have to go out. You don't have to deal with somebody. You don't have to deal with proofs. You do it all right there. Boom. You get some bandit signs. Get yourself a stapler or whatever. Slap those around, especially this season right now because we're in that like still, we're getting down there, but we're still in that season where grass is growing. So they'll get ripped out. You gotta find out where other people, pay attention where people are putting them. That's a big thing. And then if they get yanked, you might want to put yours there because it'll take a little bit for the township or whoever. Or you can always do like a Friday. Do a Friday, put some stakes in. Nobody's working, right? The Manilas aren't working. And go pick them up Sunday. You know what I mean? And put them at like the Home Depots or Lowe's. Try to do some of those parking lots stuff. You'll see. You'll lose a few. But you can do that. Business cards are good. Get maybe, like I said, get a shirt, something on the back. And you're walking around lumberyard stores or whatever, you're grocery shopping, just wear it. You make sure you got some cards on you. You might get somebody, hey, you work there? Yeah, what's going on? I'd help a lot of people in the Lowe's over the years, but I can't say I really got a lot of jobs, but I'd get close, but I never really don't want to buy this. But I'd help them and I'd say, here's a card. As if you do have problems, you can call and ask questions, or if you need us to install. I think we did get one. I was walking down the aisle, I seen somebody looking at openers. Because who are they going to really get? Like the Lowe's guy probably doesn't. He's not better than me. Like I can just tell you, hey, don't buy this one. Probably buy this one. Peter says, I'm not sure. It's just when he's got some money in his pocket, right? Peter advertised on golf tees, set them out on golf courses around the area. And Tony does that. Tony sent me pictures. He does it a lot. It's not an idea. Like I said, really there's no bad advertising. I mean, you just never know how somebody's click. The best thing though is you got to always remember that typically Google is, or word of mouth is really good. Get somebody, because when people talk and they go, hey, I got a guy, man, he's really, of course, this is how it always goes, right? They go, hey, I got a guy, he's really good, he's really cheap, he does a good job, he shows up on time, blah, 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 they love that kind of stuff. Depends, word of mouth. Make sure the business cards are important though. You gotta, because I gotta get like even just personal business cards, because I got some people I just deal with, like I'd be like, here's my phone number, or like I'll try to type it in and I'm like, that's not good. Like you really should get a card, because the card is right. It's got the right number. Maybe it's got an email on there for whatever, you just be surprised how many times you want a card. You know what I mean? I've had people, hey, you got a card? Not on me at the moment, Or if you have that or less, you see about sponsor kids sports teams or activities in your community so you can be known, or any billboards in your area. Peter S. He says I can't tell if that's a joke or not, Tony. Tony's being serious tease though. He says I'm going to try that. That's what Russ says. Tony says, serious, the cheese golf course within a mile of me. That's $100 for 1,000 golf. Wow, that's a lot. Golf tees. Dang. Another idea too, just an idea. You could always make pens. I'm a kind of a pen snob, so I ain't gonna lie. So I don't know if somebody have fancy enough pens for me, but I do like, if you get a pen that's pretty cool or something different. But I've had companies that have contacted me to send you one because they know you're in business. But like I said, I'm a pen snob, so most time they get chucked or whatever, you know. But like I said, you can make pens. You could always hand different places, because people, I mean, I don't know how it is. Even my household, the pens are always freaking gone. You know, I'm like, where these pens go? Like people just eat them. You know, it's like the kids take them and stash them somewhere. Do you give them to a course free and just ask them to give them out? I said at the beginning of the season, I hand them out to the clubhouse, and then go stop at the box and drop off a handful daily before I head out to work. Heck yeah, that's a good idea. Tony says, but the best thing I have found is Google Maps is where most find me, and your reviews are what get you all the business. Yeah, I know there's something too, and I haven't really explored this that much. I keep hearing about like the Google Voice, like you need to be on the voice, and I thought, well, I get it. I mean, I know I'm starting to get more where I try to use my voice command on stuff and like that. So there is different avenues. But yeah, you gotta remember, we're kind of firemen, you know, in a sense. Spring break. I'm not saying people don't, but at least in my area, they're normally not shopping. You know, it's not like cupboards and kitchens and kitchen cabinets and fridges. They're not shopping for something new, right? It's the garage door is always that one that's like, oh, somebody smashed into it. I need somebody to come now and fix it. I think I thought one of you guys, I don't think that one on here tonight, but somebody also recommended Next Door. That's kind of becoming a new trendy thing. I think I think it's better than Craigslist, but it's kind of right there with it, but it's more modern. Somebody was telling me that they every morning they get a store and they post, you know, something, and I thought, well, damn, that's a good idea, right? Because I know for myself, I went to Google and I looked for, I needed a painter for one of the rentals, and I wasn't getting, something wasn't landing like how I wanted. I think I called two of them that were kind of the big ones, and I got really brushed off. I service like right from the get-go. Like I was just like, this is not cool. And so I'm like, I don't know where to go, you know, like I don't know where to look. So I went to Next Door and I actually typed it in. And I think there was 2 or 3, and the one had kind of good reviews and they were just on there. I don't think it was super blasted or anything. And called them. The secretary, I ain't gonna say like she went above and was like super perky and super nice, but she did her job. She was clean cut. She took down my information. She made an appointment, which I got a lot of companies right now. You guys got to watch. I'm sure, I don't think you guys are doing it. I think in a whole, as service companies, I'm starting to feel it, right? I'm seeing it. Like when I'm with contractors, I'm seeing contractors that are saying, well, you know, I'm kind of busy this week. Give me a call back next week. I don't like that. I'd rather be on the phone. I'd rather you put me out for 2 or 3 weeks in less time. Let's set a date. Let's get this looked at so I can lock this in. You know what I mean? And then, but like this, like, let me, like, kind of busy, call me back next week. I don't like that, because what if I call back next week and you let your buddies in and now you're busy that week? Well, dude, where am I at? You know what I mean? Like, I need to get this service. So just something to be concerned or just be aware of out there. Just something to think about. Like if you're one of them that's kind of like for time and a date, even if it's 2 or 3 weeks, I don't care. Like I said, for me, I just need to set, I want to be one and done, right? I don't want to call again and get, I don't know. It's just, it's just something. Oh. It says, oh, my customers tell me I had great reviews, which is definitely important, and you should. I think it'd be cool to try those cards out. So maybe you can get right on them too with the customer and say, hey, you know, give me a review. If you don't mind if I did a good job, if you have any questions why I'm here, you know, that way they kind of do it right then and there. If they can just fill it out, hit a few buttons. Rusty says, I agree, Tony. He says, I got a review the other day because I bought an extra can of lube in for the kid that was watching with his dad so he could help spray the door. Ooh, that's cool. That's why I always talk about too. Like some of you guys, like I always wanted to do. I never did it, but I wanted to get the small cans from Surfing, get our name, on there, and then like a phone number, because that'd be the perfect right there. You give it to the kid. That's yours, bud. You keep that. You know what I mean? And that the husband or father, whatever, they look at that and they go. The kid sets it down. Let's keep it on the bench here. Let's not bring it inside. Get the house all nasty. But something happens. A buddy, hey man, let me go look. I got that name. Boom, boom, boom. That was nice. I mean, yeah, you can put the sticker on the door, but maybe they move. You know what I mean? I'm taking this can with me because that guy was a good dude or whatever, blah, blah, Peter says, I live in an area with a lot of golf courses. Oh, there you go. Thanks, Tony. He says, I'll give it up, get it a go. Yeah, that's a good idea. Like I said, doesn't hurt. It does not hurt. Tony says, put a card behind the wall button. They love seeing it out there. Yep. Do the card, like I said, do the card behind the wall button if you can get stickers made if you're working on garage doors. I used to, this is how cheap I was, right? I had no money. And I used to take my business card, and I don't know if I dated it. I feel like there was ink marks on it for some reason. Maybe it's just because they bled. I literally would take my business card. I wish I had one. Gosh, I hope one day off a garage door, an old one. And anyways, I had my business card, and I would take clear tape, and I would actually clear tape it on the door. That's how I did it. I clear tape it on the door. The problem I ran into, this, especially on non-insulated doors sweat, and my cards had no resistance for that. Now Josh, his business card is like a hunk of metal. His cards would probably hold up. His are badass, man. But his, you could stick to it. It'd probably last forever. But mine were the paper, and they all like drained, all the red, because we used to have like red in it with blue, and oh man, it didn't look pretty. So if you find a local place that can make you, you could probably do it online too nowadays. Tony says, oh yeah, he says, I do pens. He says, I had them out at the Chase Bank. I get them because they run them through the drive-thru, take off with them all the time. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They got one called Nosy Neighbors. I'm all over that one. Nosy Neighbors? What is that? They got one called Nosy Neighbors. I'm all over that one. What? Oh man, that's crazy. So, anywho, like I said, it's just some things about just keep hustling out there. Like I said, you got that video I just posted. I think it was today, right? Today of Caleb. Peter. I'm just curious, Peter. Before I get off here, how old are you? I don't remember if you've told me before or not. I got a bad memory on that kind of. But, Caleb, how old's Caleb? I don't think he's quite even 21. He's got to be around 18 through 20. And, he's just starting. You know what I mean? He's learning. And I told him, I said, dude, this is stuff, you're doing great. I said, I told him some stuff he needed, you can always make some improvements. But once you just start out there, you just got to keep working it. Like I said, you got to imagine. I mean, it's been, it's a long-term thing if you really want to do it. I mean, what's Rusty guy here? He says, so Peter's 33. He says, I think. That's how I am. I'm always like, how old am I? 41? He says, garage doors are like dog ears. Oh, yeah, yeah. Tony says here, he says, I think I'm going to do what you said. That company up, he says, there be used to the plaques. He said, on my new doors. He says, I think I'm going to put a plaque up, rivet it into the door. I think that's an awesome. Hey, man, it was pretty cool. It was really cool. And you think about it, it's kind of permanent there. I mean, you're not really going to put a sticker over it. Nobody, like I wasn't going to drill the thing out. They were really nice plaque. If I come across another one, I'll keep it. But, years ago, Shepherd was, they dominated this. They were like the only door company. And then things split off. There was some family feud, so one of the brothers went off. But you just got to remember, in the business, it depends on what you want to do, and you really should kind of think about, because that's why I'm always telling a lot of the younger guys or anybody that's getting into the business. I'm like, get out there and just get started. You know what I mean? Just start touching the stuff and see if it's something you, first of all, even enjoy, because you might do it and you go, you know what, like, I don't really enjoy this. You know, like there's a lot of dilemmas and stuff, and it might be something because, I've been doing it, I've been at 18 years. You know what I mean? And I've been, very blessed, but man, I've also really, really did a lot of stuff but backwards. And there's things that you could do to make it quicker and expedite it, but you also got a lot of variables in this too, in this business. And you got to remember right now, I mean, like I said, we got vehicles that are fighting us, we got products that are fighting us, we got customers. Some of these customers are just getting to be a little bit on the wonky side. I think the customers can be combated if you're smart enough on the phone. And I mean, the beautiful thing is, on a really positive part, is we got these smartphones, and if you use that to your advantage, send you information. Boy, that can be a big help. Man, that can be such a big help. Have them send you that information. I need pictures, and for whatever reason, this is just my gut feeling. It always feels like you got to remember that if they don't want to play ball, they're probably not a good customer. I'm going to show you this. I remember this because we had problem, and I got this from one of the guys at one time. But this right here, very, very important. Bad planning on your part does not constitute emergency on my part. Once you get the mindset, it's a mindset. You know what I mean? These customers walk over you. You got the business. This isn't right. I don't know what this is. I better take this part at least down. So let's look at this here. I had a little something up there. It wasn't very nice. I had to block that out. But right, we offer 3 kinds of service: good, cheap, fast. You can pick any 2. Good service cheap won't be fast. Good service fast won't be cheap. Fast service cheap won't be good. I always like those things, you know what I mean? Because they're very true. And once you realize sometimes that the customer is going to probably waste your time, once you figure right away over the phone call something's not adding up, they're not working with you, they're sitting there getting all all you gotta do is watch the cop episodes, right? And that lady, like we all know, right? The lady that caused the accident, or the gentleman or whoever, right? And they're sitting there and you can just tell they're on something. They're impaired. They're all irate. They're all funny, right? Yeah, you're probably the one at fault. Yeah, I'm the one that's going to get the ticket. You're the one that's going to get handcuffed. You're the one that's going to get in the back of a cruiser, right? So that's what you're trying to filter out when you take those phone calls, right? Basically, I talk about it's like a marriage. Are we a good fit? You know what I mean? Are you willing to work with me? Like, if take pictures, I'll just call somebody to come out here. Go ahead. That's how it is around for us anyways. We have a lot of people that like to waste time. They have no understanding of business. And I look at it and I go, if you can't see a couple pictures, and I mean, this is all obviously discretionary if they're at work, but you know how it is typically. They'll say, well, I'm at work, but my kid, is at home. I could have them take a few pictures. Could you please? Sure. Send us a few pictures. We'd like to see that. These are things that, how do you plan on paying? Like, I kind of feel like you should do credit card. You know what I mean? Because if they don't have a credit card, just saying, there might be something else going on. I've had problems with cash. They don't have the right amount of cash. And I'm a cash guy. I love the cash. I'm just like a diesel. I love the diesels. But they have their quirks to them. You got to watch some of this stuff. So it's just something to think about. But I always like that. Bad planning on your part does not constitute an emergency. And it's right. How many times do we go to things that you know how it is, right? People didn't do preventative maintenance. People didn't fix things. They waited till the very end. They ran their opener with a screwdriver genie with 2 broken springs for 6 months now, and the door's caving in. And they, the only reason they want to fix is because in 5 days it's Christmas and we got family members coming over. Says I think Tony said that's cool. Just personalizing in the door with my company name. Heck yeah. What's it doing? Is it getting crazy out there? This mess is, I don't know if I want to push that. Anywho, I think everybody's got to work tomorrow. If not, enjoy sleeping in, I guess. But I'm going to head out, you guys. It's that time. And I'm glad you guys are here. Plus, we got up to 17 likes. That's awesome. I'm impressed for a Sunday. Sundays, you know how it is. It's the day of the Lord. Everybody's sleeping. Everybody's resting. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks again, Tony. Peter, just remember, if you got any questions about business or anything, or anybody, I don't know if you got my number. You can always shoot me a text, the 231-720-9675. If not, you can always hit me an email at the daveadubson@gmail.com. I can give you a number that way too. I typically put it in the description of the videos of all my videos in the description below. And you're more welcome to ask questions, or if you got anything, I'd be more than willing to help you out. And don't be afraid. Like I said, if you get into something that you think you may be an opener or door or something might be getting above your head, reach out to me. You know what I mean? That's what I did most Saturday with Mr. Caleb. You know, we were send me pictures. Yeah, this is what I would do. This is what I wouldn't do. Ended up talking today, and I coached him into. I said, look, I said, I'm not bashing you. I said, but there's some things I would have had to cover. I said, I would have had him fur that jam out for you, because he did. I don't know if I mentioned this. The spring pad come off the wall because there's nothing back there. And I said, this really wasn't on you. I said, this would have been something that would have been additional. I said, but if I would have had pictures, I said, I might have caught this and I might have been able to help you out a little bit. So there's another gentleman that's been reaching out to me text, and because he asked me all the price stuff, and I said, it all depends. I said, that's why I called it. I said, is there windows above the garage door? You know, not in the garage door, like windows above. And sure as snot, there's windows going above there. And I said, you better get on that right now. I said, because that is going to cause a problem. I said, because with the customer, when they put that big picture window in there, are they going to be having a board in the middle? Probably not. So you need a builder. Hopefully the builder will put it in for you. So he can be the bad guy and go, oh, I didn't really think of this out. We should have put a header and then, did this. And the header don't look like it's big enough. It is. Or they got to do a low headroom track, or they got to do something 10-inch radius, something. But I don't know without that. But when I seen the picture, I said, why is there like headers in here? Like, what's going on? What's going in the middle of this? So just things to think about. Holy cow. I can't believe Tony had wiped that one out. But man, we got, oh geez. Like quad. I don't know if Alex is a girl or, I don't know. Rear mount springs sounds like. You might be right, Tony. There was I couldn't tell. He didn't know. And I said, you better get out there and check with that job. If I get a chance, I'll send it to Tony. You take a look at it. But you'll see what I'm up against. I kind of went, ooh, I said, that's not good. I said, that's not good. You better stay on this through the whole process of what's going to be there. Oh, God. This is a man. I had my hopes up, man. I don't do the man stuff. I got a wife. I like that stuff. So anyways, I'm out of here, guys. We'll see you.